I'm going to grab it to see. Where's it at? Sorry.
No.
Did you get it? I didn't get it. There's my notification.
I didn't get a notification until just now, but I already had it.
Robble. Trying to listen. Make sure it's not like drop in or nothing. That we're not frozen. Okay, everything looks good. Sorry, I always do this at the beginning of streams. I'm the worst. Copy that.
It's a good thing to do at the beginning of the stream. I don't know.
You're right and smart.
All right, cool.
Let's go. Paste. Tag everyone. Everyone. All right, cool. Hey, wow, Austin, you're here fast. Damn, dude. Is this just like the time of day when you're available? It's cool. It's very cool. It's good to know. Okay, first thing we are doing. So, yep, I'm ready to go. First thing we are doing is going over changes I have made since last time we streamed, which was on Saturday, because of Nate's suggestions. So, the first one is Kalo Jushi.
Yeah.
We all right? All right.
Yes.
Oh, you're good. Okay. Okay, I'm actually going to move this.
Told you.
Yeah, you're right.
I freaking told you.
Okay, so that I can actually move around and not be out of frame every time I move. So
Yeah.
anyway, first one is Kalojushi. This is the old one, but we've already been over it.
So we can just go.
So we can just go. So
Just go.
old one. All right, the new one, the front side is the exact same as it was in when we talked about last time when we were talking about blue. But the back side has been changed because the original back side had a very similar one to Jaraku, the interloper of the old one, which was it countered spells using the key counters. But as Nate went over, having something on the battlefield that has an ability to counter spells means that ability just doesn't get activated because your opponent's just not casting spells unless they can pay for it. It's very awkward. It's not very fun.
It's almost always how it works.
Yeah, and it means you've got an ability that you built up that you are not activating ever, but it's just saying, oh, the rules work different now. It's bad. Bad design. So we change it to this. Now the counters, you can remove a key counter from Jaraku, the interloper, to copy target instant or sorcery spell you control with mana value 3 or less. You may choose new targets for the copy. Activate this ability only once per turn.
We talked about this recently, he and I, after he redesigned it, that it probably just because of the power level of a 3-cost spell turning into this, it needed to have both the restriction on the mana cost and the restriction on per turn. The per turn one is the most important, though,
right?
Because being able to do the exact same spell like 4 or 5 times, depending on how many key counters you have, could be ridiculous to such a crazy extent for a 3-mana card.
Well, and the situation here is that Kalojushi is not that hard to flip, right? You put in some effort, but like a little less than half the cards in the set are going to be like a quarter to a third of the cards in the set that you'll pick are going to be able to put a key counter on it. So
in your deck, you'll probably have half of them or something.
Yeah, it won't be that hard to flip it. So when you do, it shouldn't just be like, and then I cast my removal spell and copy it 3 times.
Board wipe you.
And board wipe you.
And now I win the
with
game.
this card that was already decent stats. Like,
yeah, like not bad. Turns into a 3/4 for 3.
So we made sure you can only copy smaller spells, but the more important one is you only get to copy once per turn, which definitely makes sure it's only copying that same spell once. But
it is really good against counterspells.
It's good against counterspells. You can counter through counterspells. I mean, that's fine.
I like that.
All right, so that's that one. Let's go.
Okay, how far do you have to go?
Well, here's the thing. If I exit out over and over again, it's also going to be awkward too. You're right. No, this is probably
worse. Yeah,
this is worse. Okay. The next one is Iraya, which was the flip Moonfolk.
The one that's banned in Commander.
I'm not going to go into it then. Well, I have to. Yeah, I'll just do it this way. It's awkward, but hear me out, everyone.
This is awkward, but we're doing it.
This is awkward, but we're doing it. We're just going over these changes. See, look at me. I got a loading screen and everything. Anyway, so the old one, this is Arayo. You cast 4 spells, or 4 spells get cast. Look, we're going over these first, then it'll be red cards. Just let me take care of this. These are changes we made from yesterday, or from the last
time. Yep.
So they'll play better. 4 spells get cast a turn. You flip it into countering the first spell each opponent casts each turn. Well, we didn't want that. That's not very fun. It's also still really hard to flip. So I made it lean into what Moonfolk do more, which is activate a lot of abilities. It leans into a bunch of other stuff too, but This one is now 1 and a blue for 1/1 flying. That whenever you activate an ability, if it's the 5th mana ability that, or if it's the 5th ability that isn't a mana ability you've activated this turn, transform it into an enchantment that says whenever you activate an ability, if it isn't a mana ability, copy that ability. You may choose your targets for the copies. So now, after you flipped it, all of your activated abilities happen twice.
Yep. It seems really fun. I have no idea how strong it is yet. It's definitely workable. You can definitely activate this in the late game. So, who knows?
Who knows? But that's just...
I think it's probably not great, but like still definitely something worth going for.
It's a more interesting card because it's a real build-around that makes sense in the set that we've created.
Yeah.
Next one is Hisoka's Guard.
Turning, like as you saw, both of these counter effects turned into copy effects.
Yep.
Feel much more interesting that way.
I don't have to go into this one. So Hisoka's Guard changed into... It used to be very similar to the old one, but those effects aren't actually that fun to play with, especially when they're on board. Hexproof effects are usually the most interesting to play with for everyone involved whenever they're instant speed from your hand, one-shot protect from like a removal spell until on a turn kind of thing. Those are the most interesting versions for gameplay. So we turned this into 1 and a blue 0/3 that lets you tap and untap wizards you control to scry one.
More wizard payoffs because we have like 1 or 2 already is fun.
Yeah, and there's a lot of wizards in blue, but what's kind of interesting is they had originally only 1 wizard payoff.
Yeah.
And that was Azami. And I thought it'd be interesting to just turn a lot of these cards that are doing meh or not great stuff into cards that are now wizard payoffs, even if they're not amazing, and all of them do work by themselves.
Yep.
Like this card is very similar to a card called Sigiled Starfish, which is a 0/3.
Haste.
What?
Except for it has haste. So
it
good.
does have haste. Yeah, it's even better. Yeah, it was a 1 and a blue for a 0/3 that you could tap to scry one. It was an enchantment creature. This is very similar to that. So
you're allowed to activate. The reason I'm calling it haste is because you're allowed to activate this the turn you play it because it doesn't require the actual tap ability.
Right. Exactly. Next one is Kaho. The old one was very similar to the original version. The one that I did was almost the exact same text as the old Kaho, except for it let you hit sorceries as well. So the new one, though, I've tweaked it. It's still not great, but it'll feel better to play with, I believe. And it also does playing into wizards. So it's now 2 blue for a 2/2 wizard. When it enters the battlefield, exile up to 3 instant or sorcery cards from your graveyard. And you can pay X and tap an untapped wizard you control. So it doesn't have to be Kaho, and you can do it the turn you play Kaho. And it says cast a card with mana value X exiled with it. So similar power level, but it'll probably feel a lot better to play.
It's also definitely a lot more late game card than the old one was. The old one you would be interested in playing on turn 4. This one you're probably not.
You gotta at least wait till turn 5 and hopefully get a 1-cost instant or sorcery.
Yeah. I like this card better, and I think it is weaker, and I think that's interesting.
Yeah.
I'd be more interested in picking this card, and I think it's a little weaker.
I think it's weaker, and it's probably more fun.
Yeah.
So you're gonna play with it more, and that's good. It's weird because they're very similar, yet somehow I feel like this one will feel less bad.
We can go over Myojins now.
Oh yeah, another change I made is to all the Myojins. So I'm just going to show you the blue one to show you it. I've made them a lot better. What I've done is, now they all have the same abilities I've shown you before, except they get their indestructible counter even if you didn't cast it. So that means if you cheat this into play using like reanimation or through the breach or reweave was one we showed before. If you use these ways to cheat it into play, it does get its counter, which means you do get to use its super powerful ability.
Yeah, and I think it'll be really fun because there's a little bit of a cheats deck you can maybe put together in this format, so hoping to see one of us be able to pull that off and see what kind of Myojin we can pull out. They'll be a lot stronger, like a lot stronger because of that, and I don't know. It means I'm definitely interested in picking them in certain decks.
Yep. I think... I'm going to tell you one thing about Myojins from the old stuff. I don't think they needed to make you have to cast them. I don't know if it's 100% true. No, they have
particularly this one's crazy strong.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know.
They're weird, right? The mana cost is so high, and they're weak for the most part, but their abilities are big. Nowadays, we wouldn't make these abilities, even with these bodies, cost this much, even if it was like an enters the battlefield effect.
Yeah, I don't know.
But a lot of times they don't make those kinds of, like, there's a dinosaur that has a board wipe on it. You have to cast it for it to work.
Yeah.
So they do still make you do that with some of these. I don't know. It's weird. But the one thing to remember is this is limited. So you're not building a constructed deck and just guaranteed to have the cheats.
Right.
You need to get the cheats. And that's the reason why I switched to this.
Exactly.
Is it makes them fun to play. I realized that if you had to cast these to get their abilities, you would never pick them if you were drafting, because you'll never cast them.
It never fits into this format. You can't ever cast them. It's not worth.
Maybe in the old version you could cast some of them, but not in this one. Not in the way we've redesigned it.
Cleansing Fire probably is the only one, I think, right?
Is 8 mana,
you could maybe cast that. So you'd pick it.
But now it means the bigger ones that you would never cast, you're going to cheat them. They're great picks for cheating, and there's a decent number of different, unique ways to cheat them out. They're all different, too.
Yeah.
Reweave makes you have to get lucky and sacrifice a creature. Well, not get lucky. Build your deck so that
it'll work.
Like you would a polymorph deck. Goryo's Vengeance, now, I'll talk about it another time. Goryo's Vengeance doesn't exile anymore. It makes you sacrifice, so it works with dragons and stuff.
It's another thing, though. It'll come back, and then you can
any
use its
random
ability
action,
before it dies.
And through the breach you put into play from your hand. There's a couple other cards that do some similar stuff. So the cheats decks work. And Myojins are the cards you're looking to pick, which is what I wanted it to feel like. Because that's what they are. Myojins are your Emrakuls. Myojins are your, I'm not casting this, I'm cheating it. That's what's in this draft format.
It's a lot cooler this way.
Yep, okay. Next one is Ribbons of Reikai. Where's it at?
In the R section.
I know, but...
Got him.
So smart. QR.
Such a genius.
Ribbons of Reikai. Alright, Ribbons of Reikai. Originally, I had just made it cost 1 less from its old version, and I decided that that's boring, because Nate said it was boring, and I kind of agreed with him. This card's probably not good, but what it is it's now 3 and a blue, Sorcery Spirit. Return up to 2 target spirit cards from your graveyard to your hand. Exile Ribbons of Reikai.
Whenever he told me about this, my thought was immediately, this doesn't feel right, because it's targeting a creature type, and blue getting creatures back from your graveyard is not something I've seen much of. He said that specifically if you have certain types, in the case was artifacts, you can in the past, but this feels like stretching, but that's okay. You can stretch if you want to.
Yeah, blue has also had like tutor for creatures before, where it was a specific type of creature.
Yeah.
And so it's in a similar vein. This might be stretching a little bit, but I do like it. It's more interesting to play than the old just draw card for spirit you control, because the blue deck is going to have a lot of instants and sorceries that are spirits. A lot of them.
That's more where it'll probably target.
Ribbons of Reikai, whenever it was draw a card, was probably not actually drawing many cards almost ever in a blue deck. So if I turn it into this, the idea is thinking about the fact that blue spirits are more often going to be instant sorceries.
I don't think this card is especially good. There may be some very slow decks that want to play it, though.
Yeah. Next one is Soratami Savant. Oh, wait, no. Floodbringer. Where's Floodbringer?
In the F section.
No, I'm in here. Whatever. Don't worry about Floodbringer. We probably talked about it. It's not actually interesting. The change. It's just balanced. Okay.
Maybe.
There. Okay, Soratami Savant is another one of the cards that's in play and counter spells, so it's like you're never activating the ability. You're just telling your opponent you're not allowed to do things as long as I have 3 mana up and can return something. So, and I had it changed in the new version to just cost 1 more mana but have the same exact effect as the old version. Bad, not going to be fun to play, won't do anything. So now we have changed it to 2 blue for a 2/3 flying that has 2 return a permanent you control to its owner's hand. Until on a turn, you may cast target instant or sorcery from your graveyard. If you do, exile it as it resolves. Pretty much gives it flashback.
It's interesting. It's a fair amount of mana, and you have to return a permanent. I think this card will be just good, actually, now after I've thought about it for a while. I think this card will just be playable in the right kind of deck, and that's it. Not at a very high pick at all, but you'll play it.
Nice grind value again.
Yeah. Grinding value in limited is often good.
All right.
Usually good, even.
Next thing is in black. So, Akuda.
All right.
Akuda Board of Ash. I took Nate's advice. Now, it can come right into battlefield.
Yep. He was originally having this ability go to his hand, and now it's going to the battlefield just because I felt like it was way too much mana.
Yep, I agree. The old one was harder to meet its condition, but it didn't make you pay mana. You could just sack a swamp and get it back. So I was like, okay, all right. Next thing's Cranial Extraction. Let's get to that real quick. Cranial Extraction. Nate was right. It's bad to have an extraction in limited, especially if we're making a cube. It doesn't do anything. It's too expensive, even if you were trying to get a bomb. So it's not worth it. So now we use the card that normally you would use to get bombs in limited, which is a discard spell. It's now 2 and a black. Look at target player's hand and choose a non-land card from it. The player discards that card, then you exile their graveyard. It costs 2 less to cast if you have 1 or fewer cards in hand.
So yeah, it can cost 1 mana if you're at really low amounts of cards in hand, or if you're casting it from somewhere other than your hand, So yeah.
I don't know how main deckable this is. It might be really main deckable, just because it exiles the graveyard, and that might matter more than you think it does.
I know it matters, I just don't know how much.
Obviously, there's Soul Shift, but if you've noticed, there's a couple here and there effects that I've added that care about the graveyard. Not a ton.
We just showed a Snapcaster.
I just showed you a Snapcaster style effect. I also have reanimation, more of it than there was before.
Yeah, for sure.
So it could matter, actually. It could really matter. And then it could be, if it's like the last card in your hand, it costs 1 instead of 3. That's about
nice.
it.
Yeah.
It's nice, but you'll still pay 3 mana for this if you want it. You'll pay 3.
If you want this card, yeah.
Next one, Hideous Laughter and Pain's Reward are the last two, so we'll just do those and then we'll move on to red.
Hideous Laughter doesn't seem especially important. Oh, I guess we're turning it into a sorcery. That's a big deal. It's hand, so Hideous is soon. Yep.
Hideous Laughter costs 1 less mana and is now a sorcery. That's the main thing that you gotta know.
So it's not going to be useful in the I block your guy, we go to damage, and then I make your guy smaller after damage kind of situation. But it'll be better for the I need to get rid of all your small guys in the aggro deck. So.
Yep, and that's actually what I prefer the card to be doing. Is you play it to stop aggro. That's about it. Not too important. The splice cost is the same as the old one now as well. That's important. Or not important. It's not going to matter that much, actually.
It's true, though.
It's true, but not important. There you go. Gotta get down to P. Where's P at? Here we are. Pain's Reward.
There's the P.
Nate was just so right. I had designed a broken card that just said, you target a player, they lose half their life rounded up, and then they draw 4 cards. That was a strictly better version of an old card that was already really good. So what I've chosen to do instead is take that thought process, because I wanted it to be in the control of the player casting, rather than the old one where you're, you could just get nothing out of the deal.
Yeah, I don't care for the old one.
I mean, obviously your opponent loses a bunch of life if they do it, but they're probably good with that.
Yeah, if they're bidding that much, they know.
Or you're paying like your entire life total to get 4 cards. So I prefer to make it this way. 2 and a black, as an additional cost to cast it, you may pay 10 life, then you draw a card, and if you paid that additional cost, you get 4 cards instead. So, it's like paying half your life if you're at full life. So in an aggro deck, it's often going to be... This one's not going to hurt as bad in an aggro deck, because you're probably still at high life.
Yeah, this will hurt more than the old version did for you, but because you're going to be at, maybe 15 or something, so you'll go down to 5.
Yeah, you will go down low, which is what I wanted. I wanted this to be a card where you're like, I'm an aggro deck, so I don't care as much, but when I do pay the life, my opponent's like, I have so much less work to do once I turn this around.
Yeah, exactly.
But if you're the aggro deck, it may be really hard for them to turn it around, so you're okay with all
Yeah.
It's the risk you take.
And even when you can't do the pay 10 life, this is what I like the most about this card, is that it still is cycling itself. It still isn't just sitting in your hand doing 0 things.
Yeah, that was
It's
important
a very
too.
bad card to pay 3 mana and draw a card.
Yes.
But it's at least doing something.
That was something we talked about too. It's important that when you couldn't do the dangerous stuff, that you could still cast this card.
Yeah.
And you could go, hey, I'll pay 3 mana and splice onto this. And so I draw a card still. That's always going to be fine if you got your stuff. So, all right. That's everything that we need to go over. So let's start the red cards now.
You can actually start the video where we meant to.
Yeah, red cards now. Okay.
There's red cards in this set.
There are red cards in this set. 107 of them. So,
Let's start them.
let's start it.
Whenever this thing
Whenever it loads.
loads. Hey, red cards.
All right. First card is Adamaro, First to Desire. 1 red for a star legendary creature spirit. Its power and toughness are each equal to the number of cards in the hand of the opponent with the most cards in hand.
It was a weird card. You could make it work. Especially if you went first, this card could be really good. But I don't like it, but it was good. It did its job. Sometimes it's a creature.
Yeah, it's awkward though. Your opponent has full control over how big this is.
It's the problem.
So it looks like it might be big, but when you cast it, it's probably like a 4/4, and it gets smaller.
Yeah,
It
4/4
gets-
at best.
So back then you're like, ooh, 4/4 for 3 or whatever, but it's getting smaller, and then it gets really bad. Those are not good cards.
Yeah.
So it was probably okay, but only if you're aggressive, and back then it was really hard to be
Or
aggressive.
if you knew your opponent was playing, was doing a good
Huge
job
hand
of
deck.
being at the huge hand deck.
Yeah.
Which was common,
All right, new card. You prefer control over aggro?
Boo.
You don't get it.
You don't get it yet.
You don't get it yet.
Get it.
Give it a couple years, and it will take that long. And then you'll
mean-
realize that aggro's the most fun way to play Magic.
Not everyone agrees with that. But
No, I know. Yeah, of course not. What? Who's the guy who only
like
plays control?
Masif and there's tons of people, that like control way more. But no, we used to hate aggro and not anymore.
I don't like. Okay, I still don't like all-in aggros that don't have any other options.
Those are just not really decks very often.
Yeah, I know. Like red slide decks were the kinds like that.
Yeah.
I hate those decks. They're not fun to play. I like
Even burn is fun.
I like big aggro decks. I like aggro decks that play big creatures.
Yeah.
That's my kind of aggro
But
deck.
like even burn is fun because it just has removal that can also go face. Like that's awesome.
Whenever I
don't know.
play an
So
aggro
many
deck,
options.
I generally like to be green because I know what green can do in aggro, and it's so much fun to play those.
It
kinds
can
of
be
decks.
cool.
All right.
Here we go. New Adamaro is now a 1 red. 6/7 legendary creature spirit. Adamaro First Desire gets -X, where X is the number of cards in your hand. So we are in control of how big our guy is. Red, discard a card. Adamaro gains trample until end of turn. So we can empty our hand really fast with Adamaro's mana ability to make sure it gets larger. And also, trample's cool on a creature that's this big. Yeah, this card's good. Your hand size and limited wavers between 2 and 4. So this is at worst, like, not at worst, but generally speaking, gonna bottom out at a 3-mana 2/3. I think this card's very good. I think you want to pick this actually pretty highly especially if you know you're going to be playing any deck that likes their hand to be empty and goes heck bent, because the ability to give trample is not it's not nothing. That card that is not even close to nothing. That is really useful a lot of times in limited. So this is a good card.
So I also want to remind that black had a lot more of the cards that paid you off for or that you could use with these discard things. So like black had a bunch of cards that could return to your hand if either you discarded them or if you had very few cards in hand.
Or they had just
Red,
bonuses because you had low cards in hand, yeah.
Red is going to end up having a lot of cards that say, when you discard stuff, do stuff.
Or make you discard stuff again.
Yeah. So we'll see that. This card just, it says, hey, it did a very similar thing to black cards. This one's not what I'm talking about, but yeah.
Yeah, this is payoff and discards. It does both.
Yeah, it's rare. It's a big spirit creature
Yeah.
thing. Okay, so good card. Next card, Aki Avalanchers, red for a 1/1 that has sacrifice a land. It's a goblin, by the way. Sacrifice a land, it gets +2/+0 until end of turn. Use this only once per turn.
Bad. For old cards, I don't need more. For your cards, if they were bad, I'd have to tell you why.
Yeah.
This one now is red for a 1/1. Red, sacrifice permanent. Aki Avalanches gets +2/+0 until end of turn. Bad.
Shit.
No. I don't think this card is good, but it's not as bad as the old one.
Yep.
Second permanent is a pretty steep cost, actually. But the big thing about this one is it can fireball people where the old one couldn't. This can win the game if people don't block it. So people are going to block it. So you can also trade this 2-for-1 with your land to kill off a 3-toughness creature pretty easily.
Yep.
So it does something. I don't think this card is very good, though.
Right.
But
So,
aggro decks may want it.
I'm going to explain. There's a couple things that happened here. Originally, it didn't cost red to use the ability, and I believe that was way too good.
That wins so fast.
That wins too easily.
Yeah.
And it doesn't take very much, right? It doesn't take very much, very many permanents. You just go, oh, you didn't block and you are tapped out.
Or if you can give it
I'll
haste
sack
somehow.
everything
yeah,
and you're dead.
if you can give it haste somehow, then like after your opponent attacks you and doesn't kill you, you win the game.
Yeah, it's too easy for that to happen.
Yeah.
I didn't want that. So we had to add this red. So, but now it's in a situation where it's like late game it can be okay.
I think it's best in the late game, which is weird because it's a 1 mana and 1.
And still only going to be usually good in the late game. But really, you're just picking this if you care about sacrificing permanents, I think.
I think it's more if you want a 1 mana 1/1 is when you're picking this.
Sure.
Which is weird because it is your late game option.
Yeah. It's doing weird stuff, but yeah.
And most often in game, what it's going to do is it's going to trade sort of upwards a little. It'll trade for a 2-mana creature, but you're going to have to sack stuff for it.
Yeah.
So
that's what I'm saying. You want to be in a deck that likes sacrificing things and pays you off when you do it. All right, next card. Aki Blizzard Herder. 1 red for a 1/1 creature goblin shaman. Whenever it dies, each player sacrifices a land.
This card's bad. Way worse than the last one.
What were they doing?
Hate this card.
I hate this card too. It hurts you. You sack a land too.
Yeah. Hate it. Go.
Stop it. New version.
1 red for a 1/1. Whenever it dies, exile the top card of your library until the end of your next turn. You may play that card. I love this effect. It being on a dies effect makes it a lot worse, but that's reasonable, especially because red can sacrifice stuff like we just saw in a way that we want to. So I don't expect this card to be very good, but it does fit into that shell. So like whenever you're building that deck, this is a card you're going to be like happy to see. You'll be like, all right, nice. It's a late pick, but you're going to want it in that deck.
It's very close to draw a card because of the format I chose to use.
Yeah.
Which was the until end of your next turn. And those effects are very close to draw a card.
Yeah, but a 2-mana 1/1 when it dies, draw a card is also not great.
No, of course not. But it's red, so
right.
we're trying to like fit it in there. I wanted it to be something you kind of just throw in with these effects whenever you're playing the version of the sacrifice deck that isn't as quick.
That's exactly what it'll be.
Yeah, it does. I don't think this is very good for the aggressive version though, because
Right.
it's okay, but it's not very good.
It'll be like 22nd, 23rd card. You won't be happy about it. It'll just keep your deck flowing.
Yep. Aki Coldflinger is 1 red for a 2/2 Goblin Shaman first strike that has red, tap, attacking creatures gain first strike until end of turn.
It's very awkward to play this card. You couldn't combat with it and use the first strike ability unless somehow you gave it vigilance. So it really it's just really awkward. But at 3 mana, 2/2 first strike, that's a little better than they were used to at the time. Like, it's normal.
This card's actually pretty good.
The ability is why it's good.
2/2 first strike for 3 was already good back then, but
it wasn't good in Bushido time. Like, the people could block this forever.
That's true.
You can't attack with this
I'm
card.
just saying.
You can't combat with this card during this set.
Yeah. I don't know. I think you're right, yeah.
This card is not good.
It looks... I don't know. My brain just can never get away from how good first strike is. Anyway.
First strike's a really good ability.
Yeah.
So now we have a 2 mana 3/1, 1 in a red for a 3/1. Red, discard a card. Target creature gains first strike until a turn. I love this card. I love that it can give itself first strike now. In an interesting way. I know I had it before, but like 3 power first strike is a lot better than 2 power. Yeah. This card is really, really strong, I think, especially because discard synergies are part of what we're doing. You're going to want this card pretty early, even.
Yep. Like this card a lot. All right, next card. Aki Drill Master, 2 in a red for a 2/2 creature Goblin Shaman. Tap, target creature gains haste until end of turn.
It gives haste, This card's fine. It's not
one of the
great.
worst versions of this card, but back then they didn't do this as often as they do now. 3 mana for one of these? Eesh.
Yeah.
You want to be giving your 3 and 4 drops haste. You don't want
to be planning on getting your next one haste when it's a 3 mana creature.
So nowadays these are usually 1 or 2 mana to play.
Yeah, the card's not good. The thing is the red was pretty bad.
Yeah.
Just in general.
Yeah, you probably didn't play red in this at all. All right.
Now it is red for a 1/1 tap. Target creature gains haste until turn. Same idea, but we did it the normal way. This card's usually bad, but you can find decks that it's very good in. So
usually it's the red-green deck. That's where this card's really good. Usually.
Yeah, it is.
But otherwise, it's
where you play something that's way above rate, and then you give it haste and you smash it. If you got your Automaro, and then give it haste and then give it trample, and they're like, oh no.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah.
So you will find that when you want this.
Yeah,
you don't want
be
it all
aware.
the time, but you'll be aware.
Yeah, if you're not sure that you want this, please don't pick it.
Yeah. All right, Aki Lava Runner, 3 in a red for a 1/1 haste that whenever it deals damage to an opponent, you flip it into Tok Volcano Born, which is a 2/2 protection from red. If a red source would deal damage to a player, it deals it much +1 to that player instead.
This card's terrible. Only being able to be better against players is the main problem.
And also, the rate is horrible.
Yeah.
It's a
4 mana
1/1 haste that turns into a 2/2.
Yeah.
That's not good. It's still bad.
Yeah. It's just really bad rate is the main problem.
Yep.
Doesn't do anything. Now it is 4 mana, 3 in a red, for a 2/2 haste. Whenever it deals combat damage to an opponent, transform it into a 4/4 that is protected from red. And if a source you control would deal damage to a permanent or player, there we go, deal that much +1 instead. And it does not have to be a red source either. So this card is extremely strong, I think, actually. But you do have to find a way to get through.
Yep, you got this weak 2/2 for 4.
Yeah.
But since that is haste, you'll just play it when you know it's open.
Yeah, exactly. You'll wait and you'll be doing other things until they have no blockers or have no good blocks, and you're like, all right, here's my 2/2 that turns into this amazing card.
Yep, exactly.
Because this 4/4 with this ability means that whenever your guys are in combat, they essentially have 1 more power. When your guys hit the opponent's face, they have 1 more damage they're hitting face with. When you play a burn spell, it deals 1 more damage. This card's just very strong.
I changed it because it was a little harsh on me. I was trying to hurt my eyes. Put it.
So now it goes. It does an arc to your face instead.
Much better. So I like this card. It's going to be very powerful.
Yeah, I want to pick this pretty early.
Yep. You may be wondering why I kept the protection from red.
I don't know why you did.
It's flavorful because the point is that he is reborn from the volcano.
From the volcano, yeah.
And I was like, do I want to keep that? Yeah, I'll keep that.
Sure, why not? It's gonna be annoying sometimes, I'm sure, for the opponent.
All right. 1 in a red for a 2/1.
Aki Raider.
Aki Raider, sorry. Whenever a land is put into a graveyard from play, it gets +1/+0 until end of turn.
So this is a 2 mana 2/1 with almost no upside. The goblins did have a lot of ways to get rid of their lands, so you could jam with this and hit for 3 or 5 or whatever. But it's just a 2 mana 2/1. This card's not good. This card was something you could use as filler at the time. Now it is 1 in a red for a 1/1. Whenever you discard a card or sacrifice a permanent, put a +1/+1 counter on Aki Raider. This ability only triggers once per turn, though. So I like this card a lot. This is the kind of card you're looking for in these decks as well, in my opinion.
Yep.
It only happening once a turn means that you're going to really
Get two of them per turn cycle.
Yeah, maximum 2 per turn cycle, because you're going to want to maximize the amount of times you use it. Once my turn, once their turn, if you're trying to make this guy big. If you're not trying to, then he just gets big every once in a while incidentally, and that could be fine in your deck.
Yep.
I think this card's good. If you know this is where you're at, you're picking it highly. Impact 2 and 3. If you don't know this is where you're at, you don't pick this.
Sounds good to me. That's what it's for. Next card, Aki Rock Speaker, 1 and red for a 1/1 creature goblin shaman. When it enters the battlefield, add red.
It's terrible.
Terrible. What the fuck?
It's sort of a 1-mana 1/1, but it's actually worse than a 1-mana 1/1.
Yeah, it's worse than a 1-mana 1/1
with no text.
in a lot of ways. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, I have nothing for this.
I got nothing for you. It's bad.
It's worse than a 1-mana 1/1. That's what I got. It is almost strictly worse than a 1-mana 1/1, and in this time period, in this set, in this limited, it is worse than a 1-mana 1/1.
I just don't know what else to say.
Instead, it is a 1-mana 1/1. Red for a 1/1. Whenever you discard a card or sacrifice permanent, add red to your mana pool. All right, that's a really strong, I think, ability. It's a really strong ability. I don't think the card's especially good, which is interesting, because adding mana in limited is just not useful.
It's not as useful as constructed because you don't have a plan. You don't have a constructed plan.
So when you have this, if you have ways to dump that mana somewhere and do something with it, you'll be happy with this card. Otherwise, it's not much. You'll rarely play this card. You'll play this card when you're looking for a 1-mana 1/1 sometimes, and only sometimes.
I'm thinking here that this is going to be cool because it could, this is probably like the way designers think when they're creating constructed sets. But I wouldn't have. This is not for constructed, and I wouldn't have let it out the gate this way if it was.
Oh, this would be broken and constructed.
Absolutely nuts and constructed. But the brain space is similar because I want to see if this can be broken.
Yeah.
But
and I'm right now of the opinion that it can't be in this set, but I'm not certain. I want to see too. I also want to see.
The question is, what are we using the mana for, and how much are we generating when we do our thing?
Yeah. Is that worth that, or could we just spend our mana we have for the turn? Is that fine enough?
Exactly. Alrighty. Aki Underling is 1 and a red for a 2/1 creature goblin warrior. As long as you have 7 or more cards in hand, it gets +2/+1 and has first strike.
This is much better Goblin Piker as compared to the other one, which is hilarious because this one's also terrible.
Yeah. The other one's ability didn't happen because you never picked those cards that made that happen.
You shouldn't.
But this one's ability's harder to make happen, but it's more like
still more likely
you're gonna. And
it's also a really good ability comparatively.
Yeah, this
when it triggers,
good.
Turn it into a 4/2 first strike
for 2 mana.
Yeah. But it's just not gonna.
This one's funny because it feels different than the other ones that I've seen that are 7 or more cards. This one feels like your payoff is massive.
Yeah.
Whereas some of the other ones are like, but I paid 3 mana. Like
this one is this is a great example of this card's really good on the draw.
Yeah.
You play this on turn 2, and you have 7 cards in hand sometimes. And
you're just 4. And everyone's like, fuck.
Yeah, and for a few turns, you'll keep it that big. You're an aggro deck, so you won't keep it that big for very long, but I don't know.
Yeah.
It's pretty all right. I think that card is definitely playable at the time. This is now instead a 1 and a red 2/2. As long as you have 1 or fewer cards in hand, it has +2/+0 and trample. So Hackbent get turned into a 4/2 for trample for 2. I like this card a lot. It's good filler, is what I'd call this.
Yep. I don't like the first strike actually. That's like obviously that's what made this powerful. And you're
big
like,
power
yes,
first strike.
I did it. For me, since this is a much easier thing to do, did not want the first strike. Trample also feels more like what you're doing here anyway.
Yeah, because it's nearing the end of the game. You're hoping
you're just trying to get through that extra damage. They clearly are going to have something they can block and kill this with. So let's get it.
Yeah. This is just filler though, so don't pick it early. But
yeah, it's 2 mana 2/2 that has some upside.
Yep.
All right. Aki Underminer is 3 and a red for a 1/1 creature goblin rogue shaman. Wow. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player sacrifices a permanent. What are you doing?
4 mana for a 1/1 with that ability, man.
Yeah, you sure did it. 4 mana for a 1/1.
It doesn't even have ninjutsu.
Thanks, mate. It's a rogue, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, right? It could do it.
God, I'm sorry.
This card's really bad. Really bad.
What? These are the stat lines we're talking about when we're saying...
How could they have done this? Yeah. Now we have a 3... What? It's still the same stat line! 3 and a red for a 1/1. Whenever you discard a card or sacrifice permanent, Aki Underminer gets +2/+2 until end of turn. With the ability, red, discard a card, target creature cannot block this turn. Alright, this card's bad as in its stats are still bad, but it can do big things, So, there's a chance you put this into a discard or sacrifice deck and you're happy with this being the end game. The can't block is another example of something I've talked about in this set a few times where you have cards that just can suddenly win the game. This one will discard 2 or 3 cards, get really big, and say none of the other guys can block, and you just alpha and win the game. And that's what you're going to use.
The price we're paying is a 4-mana 1/1 for that,
and having to discard some cards. I think this is a little too high price, so I think like because of the discard card is difficult sometimes, getting enough cards in your hand to do it. To actually make it happen is going to be rough on the win the game portion. So I don't think this one will have that going on very often, which is why I think this is a very low pick.
Totally, I think this is a very low pick, but I think that this card actually could be very explosive because first of all, its trigger is one of some of the other triggers in it.
Yeah,
they trigger on both things that you could be doing with this setup of this deck. So
yeah, you may play this in those decks.
Huge all the time.
He could be always a 3/3 and sometimes bigger, in your deck. Like you're just the deck that's doing that. But I expect this card to be very bad.
All right, next card. Ashen Monstrosities, 5 red for a 7/4 creature spirit haste that attacks each turn of Fable.
Sure, it's big. It dies to things, but not that many things actually in this format.
It seems like in its time, if you were playing red, you're like, hell yeah.
It is 7 mana, which is a lot. So like you're not hell yeah-ing this. It's just if you're an aggro-ish deck, like a mid-range aggro, like the red-green style deck, that can get to 7 mana, you're good with this card. It does what it needs to do.
I got you.
Instead, it is now 5 red for a 6/4. So it got smaller. Haste, trample. It attacks each turn of Fable, but we got some more stuff. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if 3 or more creatures died this turn, you may discard a card. If you do, return this from the graveyard to the battlefield. Okay, this is really weird. I don't think that's going to happen very often. Like, extremely rare. But it does go straight to the battlefield.
Yeah, no, just you discard a card.
Oh, yeah, I think this card's not good. Again, I just... Having 3 creatures die, you're going to have 3 creatures in play that you're purposefully killing with sacrifice effect. Now, I know that's how your decks are going to work. You're going to try to do that. And then you also, on top of that, have to discard a card out of your hand. So that is a 4 effects.
There's also the chance that you're playing removal and you kill one of theirs or 2 of their creatures.
Along with a sacrifice or one or
There's
2.
a couple of different cards that kill multiple creatures.
Okay.
Or if you board wipe, there's a couple of those.
Okay.
There's just some different ways to kill multiple creatures. It's going to be hard, but it doesn't cost you mana. You just need to discard a card after you've met that condition.
So the big thing going for this card, though, that not positive, as in design-wise I like about this card, is that this is worse than the old one on power and toughness, so it's not just ending the game, and it's not worth it to cast it. You're trying to cheat this card.
You're trying to discard it.
Yeah, you discard 20 or discard effects that you're planning on doing in this deck, and then you sacrifice some stuff, and then you bring it back by discarding another card. That's the whole plan with this card in the new set. Because 7 mana now is way too much.
It is supposed to be a payoff for
now,
doing
you
those
can
things.
cast this in this deck, and you will when you get to 7 mana and draw it. You'll be like, all right, yeah, jam. But that is not at all ever the plan with this card. Which I like design-wise. It's really cool. I expect this card to also be too difficult to do.
I actually think it might be a little bit better, but I also think that what you're going to have to do is get the cards that make tokens.
Yeah, sure.
That way you're not sacrificing real material. Like I said before, and you saw in white, but in general, every color makes more tokens than it used to.
Yeah, that may be something I'm not thinking about.
By a decent margin. Like white and red by a decent margin, and the rest they just make some extra tokens. Well, green makes a lot of tokens. So green, white, and red all make a lot more tokens than they used to.
Okay, that may be something I'm not considering. It may be playable because of that. But if that isn't enough, I would call this really bad, is what I'd say. Like,
you'll see it though. It's okay. You'll be able to. You'll see.
Yeah.
You might be still right though. Absolutely. I'm just saying I think it might be better than that, but I also do think you really have to work super hard for it. Mm-hmm. I do think that
even if it's good, you have to work hard for it.
But I think you'll do it.
Yeah.
Is what I think.
Yeah.
I think might be the difference here. Is I think maybe you're like
I wouldn't do it. And you're like you would do it.
I think you do it.
Okay.
And who knows? I actually don't know if I'm right.
Yeah.
Next one, Aura Barbs, 2 and a red for an instant arcane. Each enchantment deals 2 damage to its controller, and then each enchantment enchanting a creature deals 2 damage to that creature.
So creatures that have auras on them take 2, and then players that have enchantments each take 2.
From each one.
Yep. So the big problem with this card is it will never kill creatures. It just won't kill creatures. So like the way you would want to use it is to like kill a couple creatures and deal like 2 to 4 to face if your opponent's playing an enchantments deck, which was the whole plan with the green white old stuff, I guess.
There was some old auras stuff going on.
There was some old enchantment stuff.
Yeah.
So auras also deal damage to the player's face, which is interesting about it.
Yeah.
But the creatures will never die because if you have an aura on it, it's usually buffing you. So it gets too big to get to get killed by the Aura Barb's effect.
You're just never playing this card.
Yeah, no, never.
You're not even siding it in if they've got auras. You don't want this.
If you're an aggro deck and you think it'll deal the last 6 damage, you could. But
if you
either
think
way,
they have that many enchantments.
right, exactly.
New one.
Aura Barbs now 2 and a red, tribal instant spirit. Orabarbs deals 2 damage to each of up to 2 targets. For each of those targets with 1 or more auras attached to them, Orabarbs deals 4 to them instead. I like that a lot. It is 2 mana or 3 mana to kill 2 small things, or if they're in Orad, then they can maybe still die, even though 2 damage, because 2 damage wouldn't be enough to kill them. Yeah, I like this a lot. It's usually a weak 2 for 1, could be a medium 2 for 1, could be a medium 3 for 1.
Yeah, the point here is the name of the card is Orabarbs, so I kind of had to do something with auras. I felt weird if I was like, I'll redesign this and say nothing about auras. And it took me a while to come to this one for some reason.
Yeah, I also like that it can go face. 2 damage can go face, just like the old one could hit face. This one also does that. This is definitely a good card.
Yep.
It's not a 2 for 1 all the time, so don't think of it that way. But it's definitely
but if it's
some weak removal, and we like weak removal.
When it's weak removal, it's like kill a small creature, deal 2 damage to them for 3 mana at instant, and you're like, okay, that's a nice fail state. That's a nice low bar.
Yeah. And when it's good, it can do a lot more.
Yeah. Next card, Barrel Down Sokenzen is. We've seen this before in the overview intro, but I'm going to go over it again. Barrel Down Sokenzen is 2 and a red for an instant arcane sweep. Return any number of mountains you control to their owner's hands, and it deals deals damage equal to twice the number of mountains you return this way to the creature.
Unplayable. Garbage.
Unplayable. Holy heckin' bad. Bad. We went over why this is so bad in the overview.
But we can talk short on it.
Yeah.
Bringing all the mountains to your hand. The only reason you ever liked sweep in the old versions was because they could win the game instantly. This one cannot hit face, so it will not do that. It will be removal to let you get through to win the game. That's pretty rare enough that it's just not worth the amount of tempo loss you get from returning all these mountains and how specific it has to be. Only mountains. Just bad.
Just bad. New version.
Now it's 2 and a red. Deals 3 damage to target creature, tribal instant spirit, but it has our new version of sweep, which is, as you cast the spell, you may return 2 permanents you control to their owner's hand. If you do, copy the spell and choose new target for the copy. It's a better kill 2 creatures than the last 3 mana kill 2 creatures. So this one actually deals 3 to each creature that you're targeting. You only have to do 1. We often have liked cards that are 3 mana, deal 3 damage in limited. It does what it needs to do at instant speed, especially. But being able to do sweep and kill 2 is good, because sweeping in this set is not always a downside. Sometimes you want to return some permanents to your hand. And that's why they liked it before, but it's even less of a downside nowadays.
Yep.
I think this card's great.
Next, yeah, I think this is almost first pickable.
I don't think it's quite that high. It's really good, though. It's
I said
second.
The word almost.
Yeah, you're right. It's high pick.
High pick. Battle Mad Ronin is 1 and a red for a 1/1 Bushido 2 human samurai. I'm doing things in weird orders. It attacks each turn of Fable.
It's fine. It doesn't deal damage is the problem always. They just take 1 damage every turn, and who cares?
Yeah.
Until they get a 4 power or 4 toughness creature in play that has 3 power.
This is not the kind of card that you want the line attacks each turn of Fable on.
But, I mean, honestly, Bushido makes attacks each turn of Fable worse, better. But it also doesn't deal damage to them.
That's what I mean. It's a 1/1.
Yeah, it's a 1/1.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
Like, it's attacks each turn of Fable. You want those cards to be ones where your opponent's like,
oh man, I gotta block that.
Do I block this, or like I can't take that damage? Like,
whereas in this one, they're like, let's take 1.
Yeah.
Take 1.
It's bad.
Take 1. It's better if you have good ninjutsu, I guess. But man.
Yeah. New one.
1 and a red for a 1/3. Attacks each turn of Fable still. Honor. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield you control, it gets +2/+0 until end of turn. Yeah, I like this card. Attack each turn of Fable on a high toughness creature. We're gonna have the same situation as before, where a lot of times they'll just take the 1.
Mm-hmm.
But then you'll be like, but this turn it's bigger.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, nah, I gotta try figure this out. Mm-hmm. But it also means that when they are available to block this card, they always will. Mm-hmm. They will always find ways to make sure that this dies as soon as possible. Right. And that's not as hard as it was then, because their creature doesn't have to have very much toughness.
Right.
In the mid game, early game, I think this card's pretty weak. I would not want to pick this card unless I am very, very honor heavy. Like, I have a lot of tokens, a lot of stuff going on.
If you can't ensure this is a 3/3 every turn at least, then you probably don't pick it.
Yeah.
This is clearly for the very aggressive.
But if you can, then it's great.
Yeah, exactly.
2 mana 3/3. We're gonna attack with that. Who cares?
There's a parallel card in white that is the 1/1 for 2 that has honor +2/+2. Mm-hmm. These two cards are similar. The main difference is this one you have to be going aggressive. The other one you can actually just be playing the deck I've talked to you about, the slow honor deck. Keep it back. Don't attack because you're not going to be doing a big honor, because it's not going to hit him very hard, because you drew the hand that doesn't do that. Like, you're playing a deck clearly that can hit aggression, but you go, okay, this turn we just keep it back. We don't attack. Say go. Next turn, make 3 tokens. It is now a 7/7.
Right.
Like, that's what that can do, and this one is different.
Yeah, this one could do that, but it's bad in that situation.
You would want this one to be Preferably, you want this one to be the attacking every turn kind.
Yeah.
Which is why it starts with toughness.
Yeah.
Because it will be
Because then the
going.
first 2 turns it may not die.
Yeah. All right. Ben Aki Hermit, 2 red for a 1/1 legendary creature Goblin Shaman as tap. It deals damage to target attacking creature equal to the number of untapped mountains you control.
So this card requires you to not play spells on your turn so that you can use its ability to kill something, but it's on boards. They're not going to attack with it. So in reality, what this is pay mana equal, or keep mana up.
Pay mountain mana.
Pay mountain mana equal to the largest toughness of creatures your opponents control. They can't attack next turn. Like, it's just, it doesn't, cards like this that don't even close to do what they say they do are so annoying to me. I hate this card.
And you don't.
And it's also not good. That's not a good ability.
It's not good, and also you're not tapping it.
Nope.
That's not happening. Your opponent's just not attacking.
Unless it wins the game.
This is one of those many nonsense cards.
Yeah. 2 red instead, for a 1/1 haste. Tap, discard a card or sacrifice a permanent to draw a card. This card's amazing for that deck. I don't know if it's actually, like, worth the 4 mana it costs. But I have a feeling it is, because we had cards like Mad Prophet in the past that in the right kind of deck, you're very happy to have it. I think Mad Prophet was a 4 mana 1/1 haste.
4 mana 2/2?
Maybe, yeah, 2/2, yeah.
4 mana 2/2 haste.
So, tap, discard a card, draw a card. This one just also has the sacrifice permanent
so you sacrifice your
text
lands
on
and
it
linking.
instead of being a 2/2.
Or your shit creatures.
I think you're pretty happy to play this card in the decks that want to do the thing, and in the decks that, like, the sacrifice and discard cards things, and the decks that don't, you may play this card.
You'll play this if you don't have enough value, because...
Yeah. It'll get you through,
good.
just throw lands away, throw bad cards out of your hand to turn into other stuff, you know?
It's better than this, what I'm about to say, but it's also like how very often you would just play Tormenting Voice in different red decks.
Yeah.
Because you needed that kind of option.
Yeah.
This is better than that, but this is similar.
Yeah, this is a pretty good card. I picked this relatively early.
Yep. Alright, next card is Blade Main Baku. 1 in a red for a creature spirit, 1/1. Whenever you play Spirit or Arcane spell, put a key counter on it, and you can pay 1, remove as many key counters as you want, and it gets +2/+0 for each until end of turn.
It's not good.
Toughness.
I don't know.
It's a fireball.
It's the 1 toughness, it's a fireball. Your opponent sees it coming. They'll make sure they're always around it. It's bad. Now it's 1 in a red for a 1/3. Whenever you cast Spirit or Arcane, or whenever you cast a Spirit spell or reveal a Spirit card, you may put a key counter on Blade Main Baku. 1, remove a key counter from Blade Main Baku. It gets +2/+0 until end of turn for each counter removed. Yeah, remove X key counter, sorry. Yeah. And it gets +2/+0 for each removed. Alright, so it does the same thing. It's still fireballs for 1 mana. If it hits, it just has 2 more toughness. And we also get to reveal, like we did with everything else. This card, I think, is significantly better just by being a 1/3.
Yep.
Yeah, it's able to attack through more board states and trade better with things. The old one could trade with things, but it usually would trade with bad things. This one will trade with medium things, I think.
Yeah.
And that's good. I like this card. I don't know how high I'd pick it. I don't know how many spirits and stuff I'm going to be getting in red for the reveals and everything.
I think
I'm not
one interesting way to look at this card is, when you're thinking of tempo, and it won't be like this a lot, but is 1 in red for a 1/3 that has 1 gets +2/+0 until end of turn.
Or better sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, sometimes, but if you're evaluating it based on other cards,
Yeah, which is not good. That the card you just described is not good. I think this card's significantly better.
I think this card is better than that. I don't know. I think that card's fine.
Huh.
That could be playable. It's just not great. It's just filler.
Yeah, that would be filler. You're right.
This one's better than that for the sheer fact you can fireball.
This is probably also filler, just good filler.
Oh yeah, just filler, but good filler. All right, Blazing Shoal. X red for an instant arcane. You may remove a red card with converted mana cost X in your hand from the game rather than pay Blazing Shoal's mana cost. Target creature gets +X/+0 until end of turn, and the X can be the card you exiled or the X you pay.
This card broke Modern for a short period of time.
Hi, Crazy. Thanks for topping in.
Appreciate it. This card broke Modern for a short period of time because when combined with Infect and a 10-cost red creature, or red card from your hand, you would just win the game. Yeah. They did Progenitus most of the time. But in Limited, it is a very bad fireball. So, it sucks.
Pretty bad.
2 red, tribal instant spirit. You may exile a red card in your hand. As you cast Blazing Shoal, if you do, it costs 2 and a red less, turns it down to 1 mana. Target creature gets +1/+1 against double strike and trample until end of turn. Okay, this is Ember Cleaving something for 1 turn, which is pretty strong effect. And being able to do it with only a little bit of mana up, so you play a haste creature and then jam and then do this is very strong, I think. I think this card is playable, is what I'll go with. It's a combat trick. I love the +1/+1 double strike combat tricks. Giving it trample makes it much stronger on dealing damage to win the game. So this is supposed to be a win the game card. At 4 mana, it's a little much, and that's good for this kind of card because you can lessen it. I think this card will not get very much play.
Fair enough. I like it. I think it won't see a ton of play, but I think these are kind of interesting cards.
Yeah.
Because they make people have things. You know, people are like, well, they could have
They have
Blazing
1 mana
Shoal.
up. They could, yeah.
Yeah, or if they have 4 mana up too, they could still be like, they could have Blazing Shoal because like, and this is so powerful when it's going to win and stuff like that. So
yeah.
Hey, good luck with your stream. I have no idea anything about MGT. You bet. I'm sure it's great stuff.
It is. It's great stuff.
Oh, something I want to say that I just noticed a little bit more with this card that isn't design stuff is like the pixelation. Don't worry, the JPEG-ness won't always be there. It is there because it was faster. If I exported everything as PNGs, it would take a really long time, and we were still making some changes as we're going. So what I'm going to do is in the drive, the Google Drive, those are, once I'm finalized for printing, I'm going to replace all of those with the PNG versions.
Yeah.
And then I won't update the Cubecobra because that's going to take way too long. So you're going to have to deal with the Cubecobra having JPEGs. But then if you wanted to print them off, you could use the files from there, and they'll be the PNG nice looking ones.
Yeah, from the drive.
And when I print it off, I'm going to print them off using the
PNG ones. Yep.
So you won't have this pixelation, and the art won't look as bad.
Yep.
All right, next one. Blind with Anger. 3 in a red, instant arcane, untap target non-legendary creature and can gain control of it until in a turn. That creature gains haste until in a turn.
This is crazy. What do you call them? Usually
Threatens.
this threatened effect. I'm trying to think what the new one is called. Act of Treason. Usually these kinds of effects are 3 mana, but they're also usually sorceries.
That's a big deal.
So this one has a downgrade in its mana cost and hitting only non-legendaries, which is huge in this set.
Yes.
Being an instant's very interesting and lets you do some good blocks that cause 2-for-1s in that way. This card is playable. It wasn't the bomb it looks like because all the good cards were legendaries. But you could take their non-legendary to block their legendary.
Yeah.
So you can mess with Blind with Anger a lot. This is definitely playable. Now it is 3 in a red, tribal instant spirit, untap target creature, and gain control of until in a turn. That creature gains haste until in a turn. So this is amazing.
Yes.
This does everything the other one does, except for it also hits your legendaries. This card will be winning the game when you steal your opponent's legendary to attack, which is something you're used to active aggressions doing or active treasons doing. But it'll also have the thing I said, where you can 2-for-1 somebody by blocking. I love this card. I would want one of this in most of my aggressive decks.
Really good. I like it a lot. I saw the instant text with this threat, and I was like, I'm keeping it.
Yeah. I don't think you ever want to pick 2 of this. I know you can't, but like I don't think you'd ever want 2 of this card.
No, but I mean, sacrifice is a thing, so could be good to have.
Oh yeah, that's another thing. I hadn't thought about that. Active treasons with sacrifice decks are always really nice.
Yeah, and there's a decent number. So
yeah.
Blood Rites is 3 red for an enchantment that has 1 in a red. Sacrifice a creature, deal 2 damage to any target.
There's some EDH use for this card. I don't know what it is. Don't tell me. It doesn't matter.
It's a lot of mana, but it's an effect. It's a repeatable shock when you sack stuff, but limited. Lots of mana, lots of resources. You didn't have tokens to sack to this.
The main problem with this is how much it costs to cast the first time.
Yes.
If it didn't, being able to hit anything off the 2 mana shock is useful.
Yeah,
this is a fine effect. It's just 5 mana for the first enchantment. It's fairly bad. So that's why, hey, nice. So it's the same thing, but it costs 2 mana less. And it sacrifices any permanent. So like this is a very, very strong card, I think.
Yes.
But it is also a little slow and a little resource. I wouldn't say heavy. It just does require resources.
Yes.
Because it requires 2 mana. And sacrifice permanent. Now, obviously, we talked about we have a lot of tokens. You got lands you can sack. You got random crap you can just throw into it. You like put them in the blood.
You can sacrifice itself.
It can sacrifice itself, which the other one could not. That is a huge deal, actually.
Yep.
So this can definitely board wipe your opponent with enough mana. So I think this card's good, but you have to be in a deck that has enough resources. So you have to have enough what are they called? Material to do it with.
It's mana intensive. And then requires a decent bit of material. I wouldn't say material intensive though.
Well, no, but I'm saying I wouldn't want to play this as in an instant sorcery heavy deck.
That's what I was gonna say. But I would say that your input, you get a lot out of it, but you've still got to do that input.
Yeah. This card goes in a lot of decks though. I wouldn't say most, but a lot of decks.
Yeah.
It's a medium pick, yeah.
Brothers Yamazaki, 2 in a red for a 2/1 legendary creature human samurai. Bushido 1. If there are exactly 2 permanents named Brothers Yamazaki in play, the legend rule doesn't apply to them. Each other creature with the same name as this gets +2/+2 and has haste.
All right, this card is cool. I really like. Yeah, thanks. I really like the theme at play, which is that they're twins, that both named Yamazaki, so you can have them both in play, and they make each other bigger and better by being friends and stuff,
Yeah,
so.
well, by being brothers. They're brothers. They're brothers' names.
Friends.
They're only friends.
They're friends.
And something cool is there were 2 of them in the set.
With 2 different arts. There
were 2 of them on the sheet, and they were technically the same number, but they had an A and a B.
160A,
you can
160B.
see right at the bottom there. It's hard to see it, but
yeah.
Because they took up 2 slots on the sheet.
Yep. It was very interesting. I like it.
Yep. And we did.
Still Brothers. Oh, yeah. They're doing the thing. You got them to be different arts and they're going to seem to hit. Okay, 2 in a red, 2/3. Legendary creature, Himon Samurai. Honor, whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, Brothers Yamazaki gets +1/+1 until end of turn. So just regular old +1/+1 for honor, just like they had the Bushido +1/+1. If you control exactly 2 creatures named Brothers Yamazaki, the legend rule doesn't apply to them, and each other Brothers Yamazaki has +2/+1 haste. So this made it better filler because it's a 2/3 honor on its own. But then if you just happen to get both of them,
it just awesome. Happened. It's another one of the situations where it's almost never happening, but it's going to be so cool when you can say, I did it. You know what I mean?
Did it.
But mainly what these cards are 2, 3 for 3, honor 1.
Yep.
That's it.
And that's, that's good filler. I like that filler.
Yep, and there's 2 of them, so it's going to be good filler. Yep. There's the other one.
Oh, gross.
Brutal Deceiver is 2 in a red for a creature spirit. It's a 2/2. Has 1, look at the top card of your library, like all of the Deceivers had. And 2, reveal the top card. If it's a land, this gets +1/+0 and first strike until end of turn.
But only once per turn.
But only once per turn, yes.
Yeah. Not good.
No fireballs.
A 3/2 first strike is cool whenever you get to do it, but wow, you got to try really hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, the card's not good.
Nope.
Now it is 2 in a red for a 1/4. You may look at the top card of your library anymore. Love that change still. 2, reveal the top card of your library. If it's a spirit, Brutal Deceiver gets +1/+0 and double strike. Good thing its power is a little lower this time. Because starting off, when you do that, pay the 2 mana, turn it into 2/4 double strike is pretty good. But if you're able to do it twice, turn it into 3/4 double strike. Ooh. Or if you have other ways to make this card larger, ooh, double strike. Ooh. Yeah, I like a 3 mana 1/4.
I know
big fan of 3 mana 1/4s. This card's good in slow decks. Give me this in a slow deck. I don't think I want an aggressive deck, actually.
Totally.
I think it's really bad.
I don't think you do either.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
But the Reveal Spirits decks aren't fast decks.
Right. It's just a red.
Red is a lot. There's a lot less cards that fit into this archetype in red.
Like that's what I'm saying.
So
maybe
less.
you're splashing and you have to have some reds. So this is happening.
One of
or
the
this
other
is your
decks.
low color.
Here's the thing about this Kamigawa block is it's not streamlined where every color only fits into its things. That's because of the way they used to design
They had so many
sets.
cycles.
So it'll allow some weird decks to appear.
Like you could play a red flow deck, and it's like, all right, it's fine.
You're rarely playing this in any deck that isn't one of the weird decks.
I'm expecting this to be good in the instant sorceries deck.
Yeah, it's probably good in that deck because you got spirits still. You don't have to play creatures. I agree. Yeah,
and
it's
it
probably
blocks
good.
for a while, and then at the end of the game, it kills them.
Yeah, that's probably great in that deck.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Love that. Burning Eye Zubera, 2 red for a 3/3 creature Zubera spirit. Whenever it dies, if it was dealt 4 more damage, it deals 3 damage to any target.
Sure.
It just like the other. There's 2 of these. There are 2 4-mana Zuberas, and there's a cycle in all 5 colors of 2-mana ones. They work differently. They don't do the same things. The 2 4-mana ones do this, where if they were dealt 4 more damage when they died, they do a cool effect. The thing is, much like a lot of mechanics that are bad in this block,
this just never happens.
They never happen. Their effect never happens. They just say some game state rules, like, hey, you can't block this with big stuff. You can't deal more than 3 damage to this.
Yeah.
If you're going to try and kill it.
Yeah.
That's it. It doesn't really say much more, so the effect isn't happening. It's just telling your opponent not to do certain things.
Yeah. It's annoying as hell. It's
fun.
a lot. It's so common in this block.
Yeah, it's not fun.
It's the big problem.
New one uses the new Zubera text.
Which is 2 red, 3/3. The new Zubera text is whenever you cast or reveal this, it does something. And this one deals 3 damage to any target. Yeah, this is great.
This card's amazing.
This is a Flame Tongue Kavu with other text on it, maybe, sometimes, whenever you reveal it or whatever.
It's almost
to the,
first pickable,
Deceiver,
in my opinion.
you know? This card's really, really good.
Yeah.
I would consider first picking this if your other cards aren't, amazing.
Yeah.
This is first pickable low side.
Yep. I love this card. I love Flame Tongue Kavus, and
something we talked about before is that material plus an effect is so strong. Like this being an ETB essentially is so strong, and it works well with your sweep effect because you're willing to pay 4 mana for another removal spell so often.
That is a 3/3 if you still keep it in there. So
yeah, this is just a really good, really good card.
Yep. Next one, Captive Flame, 2 and a red for enchantment. That is red. Target creature gains +1/+0 until end of turn.
This card's good. It's kind of weird that it is the good because it's a lot of mana, but it always turns your combats into your favor every time. If you attack, they have to block, and their creatures will die for sure. If they don't block, they're dead. Like you just pay all your red mana and they die. And if they do block, their creatures are dead.
Nowadays, this card's kind of
This isn't a good card now. But like the way it worked then, and it's just too much mana now is the problem.
Yeah.
The effect is still really strong. If this card was like red and cost red to do it, I think it'd still be good. So 2 in a red now. Honor, whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, add red. Red creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. This is extremely strong. So this does the same thing as the other one. If they don't block, they die.
Yep.
If they do block, their creatures die. Still does that. But it
both
also
at the same
has
time.
yeah, it does it both at the same time.
Yeah.
And then whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, add red. So you can just do it whenever you have some creatures you've played this turn.
Yep.
Add extra. I think this card's really strong. I'm not sure how high to pick it. If you're going aggressive, you have to have one of these. So this could be like a second, third pick really easily.
Yeah.
I'm scared of this card. Very, very scared of this card.
When thinking about balancing on this card, I was thinking about a lot of the limited anthem effects, like pluses to all of your team permanently.
Yeah.
A lot of those, where they're just like fine cards or decent cards, are doing them at low rates for no extra mana, or they're doing them at decent rates when you got to pay mana.
Yeah.
So I wasn't sure exactly, but I felt like this was where it would be playable. I wasn't sure if it was going to be amazing, but I knew it would be good.
This could be too good. I'm not suggesting it is right now, but it could be.
Yeah, for sure. Alrighty. Next card, Clash of Realities, 3 in a red for enchantment. It says all spirits have, when this creature comes into play, it deals 3 damage to target non-spirit, and all non-spirits have, when it enters the battlefield, deal 3 damage to target spirit.
What?
It's just your spirits kill non-spirits, and non-spirits kill spirits.
That's super cool. I don't know about this card. It seems like it could have been good.
Yep, it's supposed to represent the war, the Kami War.
Yeah, that seems sweet.
Yep. Here's the new one.
Now it's 2 red and a green. Honor. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, you may have a fight target creature you don't control. Yeah. It being an enchantment kind of makes it weaker. It's just 4 mana to do nothing until you play a creature. Obviously, when you play creatures, it starts getting better, but your creatures also have to be better than your opponent's creatures.
Yep, so it's got to be that red or that green deck, you know?
Yeah, I expect this card to be pretty weak, but...
I'm thinking so too, but I really like it, and it feels like it's this, but more... You can understand it better. And
it also works in not having to be spirits and non-spirits.
Right,
you know?
Exactly.
Yeah. I think this card's bad, and I like it. Yeah, I shouldn't say bad. This card's pretty weak. You can find places where you want it, though.
Cool. Next card, Crack the Earth, red, Sorcery Arcane. Each player sacrifices permanent.
I just saw a modern deck that was running 4 of these that 5-0'd.
Yep, I saw it.
It's bad. It's a real bad deck.
Real
bad card. This card's terrible.
Yeah, isn't it?
Oh, what? I guess, I know you're trying to...
Yeah, I thought it made sense.
Permanents. I don't know. You're 2-for-1ing yourself, every time you cast this card, and you're not getting something good from them. Them sacrificing 1 permanent is really weak in limited, Johnny.
I thought that it would be worth a try.
I don't. The upside from this card is so low.
Yeah, but I've been trying to think about what I turn this into. You know what I mean?
A Bone Splinter's effect. I don't know.
In red?
A Bone Splinter's effect. So deal some damage or do something else. Sacrifice a creature as a cost to do something good.
I'll give that a thought. You might be right.
Sacrifice a card, permanent, to do something good.
Okay. That might be better.
Because then sacking a permanent is nothing. It's nothing.
Yeah, you're right. And I don't think it's enough of an upside if you're playing the sacrifice your own stuff deck.
Yeah. It could be super weak, too. It could be sacrifice something and deal 2 damage to any target or something like that. I don't know. It could be terrible. It'd be better than this.
We'll figure it out. I think you might be right. All right, next card. Crushing Pain. 1 in a red, instant arcane. Deal 6 damage to a creature that was dealt damage this turn.
Really awkward. You're going to be 2-for-1 yourself if you cast this spell, but sometimes it's worth it. Back
in the day, limited removal. You have a lot of bad cards, so if you're trading your shitty creature in for their legendary good card, you're like, I will take that 2-for-1. It's worth it. Yeah. Kind of like how that Call of Blood or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like you were doing that because
you had to. Yeah, this card is still not great in the format, but you played it.
Yeah.
Now it is red. Crushing Pain deals 3 damage to target creature that was dealt damage this turn. Draw a card. Much better. But you do have to have a target. That's always important on this. So it's not just red, draw a card. It can't be that, which is pretty big deal. But it is 3 damage extra. It does the same thing the old one did, but at a better rate. Yeah, this card is fine. Playable sometimes.
Yep, not amazing. This I actually changed a couple days ago after they revealed You're Already Dead.
Oh, did it do something like that?
You're Already Dead is black. Destroy target creature that's been dealt damage this turn, draw a card.
Yeah.
And I was like...
It's a really strong card.
This makes sense. You can do this kind of rate. So I'll do this in red. Because I saw this and I was like, I wanted to make this work. Before it was just red. The only change was I made it 1 mana instead of 2. for 6 damage to somebody's button belt damage.
Lowering it down to
But
3
I
to draw a
like
card.
this better. This will feel better to play.
Also, 3 damage versus 6 damage most of the time, if they've already been dealt damage, those are the
Gonna
same.
kill them. Yeah, exactly.
Not always, obviously.
Yep.
But yeah, I like it.
Yep. All right. Cunning Bandit is 1 red for a human warrior that is a 2/2. Whenever you play a spirit or arcane spell, put a key counter on it, and at the end of your turn, if there are 2 or more key counters on it, you may flip it. Into
Just all of those key counter cards, you know.
Azumaki, Treachery Incarnate, which is a 5/2 legendary creature spirit. You can remove a key counter to gain control of target creature until end of turn.
Holy crap. It doesn't untap them, which is huge.
Doesn't untap them, doesn't give them haste.
That is so cool. Holy crap. Okay, so the main thing this is trying to do is the same thing that our instant speed active treason does earlier, which is mess with blocks, make it to where if they attack.
on the battlefield.
But the thing is, it's on the battlefield. It's always so bad.
So they're just not going to
It's
attack.
so cool. It doesn't do anything.
You know what it does do though?
Gets rid of blockers.
Well, and also if they attack with a creature, you take it.
Yeah,
It's
it
no longer
turns it off.
attacking.
It turns it off. It blocks things, or it gets rid of blockers.
So
is what this
awkward
actually
that's
is.
what it
But it is
does.
a 5/2 for 3 when you flip. So that's pretty interesting. I think this card is probably good. Not amazing, just good. The new version is 1 red, 3/2. Whenever
Sorry that the text is overlapped here. I tried so many ways to reformat it. And
This is what we got.
This is what I got.
The 1 red for a 3/2. Whenever you cast a spirit spell or reveal a spirit card, put a counter on it. At the beginning of your upkeep, or at the beginning of your end step, if there are 2 more key counters on it, you may transform it into a 4/3 that says remove a key counter from it, untap target creature and gain control of it until end turn and gains haste until end turn. This card is bonkers. This card is completely insane.
Yeah, dunk on those losers.
It's a bomb for sure. I'm not sure if it's too good. It might be.
I don't think so. I'm just thinking about all of these flip dudes, and they all you got to put the effort into them.
I'm just not sure how much effort. That doesn't seem like that much effort.
Yeah, you got to put some effort into them.
Yeah.
And it's got to be they only flip at your end step.
And while we're waiting to get there, though, it's still a 3-mana 3/2, which
That's
although
true.
is low on the filler cost.
1 red for a 3-mana 3/2.
Yeah.
And then they can kill it before you flip it.
Yeah.
But it's really all of them are
just
super.
goes. Yeah, this card goes.
This card goes.
Yeah, it's a bomb for
And
sure.
then you sacrifice their creatures.
Yeah. If you can sacrifice them, it's even better. Or if you win the game, it's even better. You know.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Desperate Ritual, 1 red for an instant arcane. Add 3 red to your mana pool. Splice an arcane for 1 red.
Terrible and limited. Rituals
untouchable.
don't do things in limited.
You never play this in limited. That sucks, though, huh?
Yeah, rituals are still bad and limited. I don't expect it to do anything.
I don't expect to do anything either, but I want to say something. There was a lot of rituals, and here and there I was like, maybe I'm just going to take them out and do something else with them. I waffled a lot on the rituals that are in this block. And I came to the conclusion that because I felt weird about changing Desperate Ritual, because of how iconic it is and how much it's seen play, I felt weird about that. I wasn't going to keep it and have it just be a card no one picked ever because it's so bad. So instead, I have some weird stuff going on where there's a chance you might play rituals. And there's a couple of them. And there's a couple different ways you're using this. One is there's some mana-intensive instant and sorcery things happening where you might be going...
I'll splice this 3 or 4
I'll splice
times.
this to get, I'll splice this on each one to get that mana back, and then at the end, I'll be able to cast way more of my instants and sorceries than I could originally because I was doing this, and I'm revealing extra shit every time. So again, say you're playing a tribal instance, tribal spirit deck thing, where you're playing lots of spells, it could be a situation where you have this in hand, and every time you cast one, you splice this, get the mana back, and just use the 2 for the next one. So you have extra mana.
The main issue you're going to have every time there is that you're not going to stockpile instants and sorceries like that.
Not usually, but you might if the deck is trying to get to do that. So that's what I'm saying is the tool. What a lot of these rituals are doing is trying to see if that deck will work. It's unlikely to. But there's also some big red cards that you can just be ramping into to cheat out early.
It only ramps 1. I don't care for that idea. Yeah, I think this card's not
This
good.
one is weaker, but with this one, the idea is splicing. The other rituals are actually a little bit stronger than this one.
Okay. Yeah, I think this might be the one I like the least then.
Yep.
Because I do love the idea of splicing over and over again. You're just not going to have it happen. It's not going to happen.
I think it's worth a try.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't do anything else with this card anyway.
I got to poop.
Excuse me. All right, taking a break. Be right back after these messages. Be right back. See? I changed it to the screen that says, be right back. So, you watch out, because we're going to be back in a moment. Almost. Would you believe me if I said we're going to be back soon? Just you wait. Nate just needed to go to the bathroom. Don't even worry about it. It's not even a big deal. Still waiting. Goodness.
Who fast?
It was so fast, dude. It was insanity. And now we're back. Wow, who crazy. Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah.
The other screen doesn't mute. I was just making jokes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, anyway. Fug.
Alright, next card.
Devouring Rage. 4 in a red, instant arcane. As initial cost to cast it, you may sacrifice any number of spirits. Dark Ranger gets +3/+, though, until on a turn. And then for each spirit you sacrifice this way, they get another +3/+.
Yeah, this card's terrible. You put way too much into it to have anything happen. Like, at base, it's 5 mana to get +3/+, until on a turn without sacrificing anything, and that's really, really bad.
Yeah, we don't like this card. We don't like this card. I mean, obviously, it's trying to be a card that's like, we'll end the game.
Right.
But...
And it can do that, I guess. Now it is red, tribal sorcery spirit. As an additional cost to cost it, you can discard any number of cards. As you cast Devouring Rage, copy it. For each card discarded this turn, you may choose new targets for the copies. Target creature gets +2/+0 and gains trample until end of turn. Okay, wait. I think there might be a problem here that could be positive. I don't even know if it was intentional. Intentional. You can discard all but one of your cards, splice onto this with the copy trigger on the stack.
That would be true for Devouring Greed.
Yeah. I don't know how good Greed was. I have no good idea how good this is. That's just really scary. I think that's sweet.
Does it? Shit! It might work that way.
I'm pretty certain it works that way.
That's crazy.
I don't know how I didn't notice it last time. It's super cool.
All right. Well, we'll just let it happen.
Yeah. Okay. So how strong is this? Let's think about this. So we're discarding a bunch of cards, which we kind of want to do, but it's still cards.
It still costs you a lot to discard.
+2/+0 trample to target creature over and over again for 2 mana.
You can spread it out with this version instead of like the other one.
Yeah. This is a win the game card, just like Rage, just like the old one. There's only 2 mana.
Or it's a combo card if you're splicing, like Nate said.
Yeah, and I think splicing on this one's will be really easy, so that you're gonna do that a lot. It just depends what you're splicing. Actually, you know what? That's when you're gonna do this card. You're gonna play this card when you're splicing onto it.
Okay, that's exciting.
Otherwise, it is fine at best. And I think with the splice effect, it is just insane if you have the right splicer. So there we go. That's something you're gonna splice your Desperate Ritual onto, and we're gonna figure it out. Here we go. We're figuring it out. It's
not a regular fireball, mate. All our fireballs are weird.
Oh, we'll figure out a way to use that fireball.
Yeah.
What's the other Devouring do? I don't even know.
My version is deal 1 damage, gain 1. Deal 1 damage to any target, gain 1 life.
Oh, sweet. Good. How much does it cost? 2?
Black.
Yeah. I like this.
Sorcery.
All right, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get one of those, and I'm going to kill you with it.
This is going to be fun. There's all these weird shit. Look, if you can do that, and people can cheat in their Myojins and stuff, there's cool shit happening now.
Yeah, cool, very powerful sometimes shit.
Alrighty. Earthshaker is 4 red for a 4/5 creature spirit. Whenever you cast a spirit or arcane spell, deal 2 damage to each creature without flying.
It's a 6 mana 4/5
that can kill
can't hit
creatures.
Flyers.
Kill small creatures.
I think this card's probably good.
It's probably alright.
But you only cast 2 before it dies because it hits itself.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, it's a little weird. I think it's probably fine. Probably good. So now it's 4 red for a 5/5. When you cast a spirit spell or reveal a spirit card, it deals 2 damage to each creature. Also still hits itself. Also does the same thing as that, but it hits
Flyers.
each and it's going to hit all the flyers.
Yeah. All those
card's
all those
good.
2/2s and 3/3 flyers.
Again,
or
it's 6
3/2
mana,
flyers.
and 6 mana is more here than it was in the old set. So
absolutely.
I think this card isn't good.
But
like,
repeatable board wipes should be expensive,
right,
dude.
Right. Oh yeah, this card's effect is insane.
Yeah.
But I think this card's not usually going to be good enough. So you have to build a deck that really can do it. Like slow the game down and still have spirits to cast or reveal.
I'm not sure because I'm thinking. Okay, so here's where I'm at. Right. I'm thinking. Imagine this card in a modern day regular limited set and replace the spirit part of it with whatever's in the set. You know, instant sorcery. Yeah.
Let's go with that.
That card's fucking insane. That card's so good. Like
the card's not so
6
good.
6 mana 5/5 with a good effect. You play all the time.
Yeah, you do.
Those are so good because 5/5 is a big stat, right? But you would never pay 6 mana for a 5/5 because that's bad. That's bad input for output. But what it is it's 5/5s are a really good stat line in limited.
Well, the thing is with this effect, even if it says instant sorcery, I don't think that'll happen enough. Is what I'm trying to say.
Maybe if it happens once, that card's amazing.
It happens once and does something positive.
Okay, yeah.
So your deck has to be built to where it's positive for you every time, and your opponent's deck has to be weak enough that it matters.
Sure.
So
the
that's what I'm
instant
saying.
sorcery deck.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying is like I'm not certain that'll be very often.
I'm not trying to say this card's broken or amazing or insane. I just think
I think this is a low pick card. Is what I'm trying to say.
maybe.
But I think there are decks where it's good.
Is so
there
crazy.
are decks where it's good.
It is so crazy because modern design philosophy has low pick cards that are really good. Like
this is one of them.
And I think this is one of them. I think you're absolutely right. My brain is just trying to like impress upon people that this is a low pick card that is really powerful.
It's really powerful in specific situations. Super specific.
Well, not so specific that it's a sideboard card, but
right.
Your deck
exactly.
needs to not lose to this card. You can't be playing aggro.
Right. You can't be playing aggro. You have to play a card that can cast spirits in the late game. You know.
You can't be playing like blue-red with a bunch of the small flyers from blue.
Right.
Like there's another thing you can't do.
You have to build around this card a little bit.
Yeah. Ember Fist Zubair is 1 in a red for a 1/2 creature Zubair spirit. When it dies, deal damage to any target equal to the number of Zubairs that have died this turn.
It's not great. Just 1 damage isn't enough. I like this card though.
Yeah, in limited it was.
I like it in limited. Is what I'm trying to say. It's just not good.
Yeah, it kills. It's just so small. Like.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now it's 1 in a red for a 1/2. Whenever you cast or reveal it, you deal 1 damage to any target. It's still I think this is one of the worst ones we've got. But
it's on the front side, which is very nice for those kinds of things.
Right.
But the rate isn't good.
Yeah, the rate's so bad that I think that you just usually won't have this card. If you have a deck that can reveal it a whole bunch somehow, you could play this card. And it can kill something or 2 things maybe even.
I think your output on this card's a lot lower. It feels like this and the Gain Life one is just like, meh.
Yeah. I'm gonna say this is pretty low pick.
I agree.
And bad filler, but you will fill with it sometimes.
Yep, and I think it can be very nice in the small scenarios in which you have repeatable ways to reveal it, which is like the Deceivers and a couple other cards.
Yeah.
There's an okay number of cards that can reveal it.
But you can't. Most of the other ones that reveal it can't repeatedly reveal.
Exactly. Not most. There's just
all
2 of
ones.
those.
Yeah, the other 2.
Just 2 green cards that we've seen one in the overview already, and those can't repeatable do this. All the Deceivers can though, so. It's fine as it is, but it is not very good outside of that, which is fine because I wanted to keep the berries very close to what they were originally, like transfer.
Right.
Next card, Feral Lightning, 3 red. Sorcery, put 3/3/1 red elemental creature tokens with haste into play. Remove them from the game at end of turn.
It's real bad.
So bad. That's
6 mana is a lot.
Not a good rate. Even 6 mana deal 9 to your opponent. It's better than this, but
yeah. That card would be all right.
This card's horrible. I have nothing else for you.
Yeah, that card would be all right as in, I don't know, it'd be low, but it would be, you'd play it and limit it in the right decks. This one you won't.
They don't even have trample. It's bad.
Now it's 1 red. Create 3/3/1s with trample and haste and sacrifice them at the beginning of the next 10 step. All right, these ones have trample, and it costs 2 mana less. I like that. They also sacrifice, which barely matters, but does matter.
It triggers your things that care when that happens.
Yeah, exactly. This card, because we have sacrifice effects, is probably playable sometimes. And also, the deck this is best in is the aggro deck. Just normal aggro. Mm-hmm. Just play this on 4 mana. Have 9 more damage on play. Just kill them.
And trigger honor 3 times.
Yeah. This card will be amazing in that deck. Like just the aggro honor deck.
I think it's all right in the sack deck too because
that's where I was thinking.
You can
at first.
like, yes, they sacrifice themselves if you have the triggers but no outlet, but you can also sack them to the outlets.
Yeah. I think it's fine in those decks. In the aggro sack decks, it'll be great.
Yep.
I think this is just such a great
aggro sack decks and aggro honor decks.
Yep.
This card's really good for those. It's like whatever for any of the other ones.
Yeah. If you know you're in one of those decks, this is like a pack 2 pick one, but otherwise it's like a mid pack 1 pick kind of thing.
Yep.
I think.
First volley, 1 in a red, instant, arcane. First volley deals 1 damage to our creature and 1 damage to its controller. Terrible. Oh, awful. The rate's so bad. 2 mana for 1 damage to a creature. The controller part doesn't matter because it's so low. You're not killing things. This is not worth it.
Nope. So bad.
So bad.
Now it's red to deal 2 damage to any target. It's just shock with tribal instant shock.
Yep.
Spirit. It's a spirit.
I think this card is...
It's Tarfire. There we go.
It's Tarfire, but spirit.
Yep.
It's so important for this format.
Yeah, I like this card a lot. This card is good.
Yep, it's fairly early pick.
You pick this fairly early, yeah.
Yep.
Like
it's good it's decent removal. It's a spirit, so you can get it back with your spirit stuff. Triggers your spirit stuff for 1 mana.
It's weak removal, but weak
you
removal.
can splice onto it because it's 1 mana. Like, this card is actually just. I'm not trying to overstate how powerful.
It's important to have this in a set.
But it's important. It does so many things in the set. So every red deck wants this.
Yep.
Every
red deck wants this card.
Yep. Flames of the Blood Hand, 2 in a red. Oh, also one thing while I'm thinking about this. This is way later on, but I thought I'd mention it now. There is a chance that we create a pared down version of this block later on, where you do have multiples of some cards, and you choose all the cards that play the best. And this is my first pick for a card that gets to be multiples.
Sure.
But that's way down after we've played a bunch.
Yeah.
All right, next card. Flames of the Blood Hand, 2 in a red for an instant. Deals 4 damage to target player. This damage cannot be prevented. And if a player would gain life this turn, they do not gain any life.
Bad, but it does the thing it does.
Does 4 damage to 3 mana.
You would play this in limited and hyper aggressive decks. It just sucks.
Because it can end the game for 3. It's whatever.
1 red instant. Flames of the Blood Hand deals 4 damage to any target. That damage cannot be prevented. Opponents cannot gain life this turn. So it's the same thing, but it deals 4 damage to also creatures. This card is extremely strong. You'll do this every time.
Yep.
This is maybe sometimes pack 1 pick 1-able.
Yep, very, very good. Will also end games because it kills your opponent sometimes.
Yep.
It's just hard to overstate.
Oh yeah, the strength of this card is really high.
Really
I'm not like when I said sometimes pack 1 pick 1-able. The only reason I said sometimes is because you're not gonna pick it over Bomb.
Yeah. Frostling is red for a creature spirit, 1/1. Sacrifice it to deal 1 damage to a creature. Nate will say this: damage on the stack. That was why this mattered. This card is better than it looks.
Yeah, this card could kill 2 toughness creatures in combat, which was good.
Or kill 2 1 toughness creatures. It's just
it was actually good in that limited.
Yep.
This card did its job.
Cheap spirit you can get back from the graveyard with stuff and trades.
Yep.
Well.
Now it is red for a 1/1. 2, sacrifice it, draw a card. Whenever it dies, it deals 1 damage to any target. This card's really good. This card's even better than that card was by a lot. Because you have the whole, it can kill 2 toughness creatures because whenever it dies, it deals 1 damage to any target. It can kill 2 1 toughness creatures because whenever it dies, it deals 1 damage to any target. Mm-hmm. It can hit face for 1 because it can hit face, unlike the old one. It also has 2 sacrifice draw card though. Obviously, that's the extra part that's really, really strong.
Yep.
You block with this. You chump blocking. You sacrifice it. You draw a card. You kill their 1 toughness creature on the side. Look at all that value. This card's great.
A lot of the creatures that were formatted this way that were meant to be gotten back with Soul Shift and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's the other thing about this. This is a Soul Shift target. It's a really good one.
This is a text from an old set of Magic. The Cycle from Play is a series of cards from an old set of Magic. The only one we talk about ever is Yavimaya Elder, but it was a common thing that they did in that set. And I thought it worked perfectly for all these cards that we want to sacrifice, but I wanted to do it this way so that you had a way to sacrifice them using that text, or if you sacrifice them with something else, they get their regular value.
Because we have a lot of other things that might want to sacrifice this so that we can deal the 1 damage still.
Yep.
Yeah, this card's great.
Yep. Frost Ogre, 3 red for a 5/3 Ogre Warrior.
No. Oh, the other one, by the way, not high pick. Once you know you're in the sacrifice deck, you like it more. When you're not in the sacrifice deck, it's a medium pick still. Just because it's a 1 mana 1/1.
It's a 1 mana 1/1, yeah.
But it's a good card. This one is a 5 mana 5/3. That is good stats.
Back in the day, yeah.
For the time.
That's why it's a vanilla back then. Oof.
Yeah, this card was playable. Yep.
It's hard. It's 5 power for 5 mana. You're gonna get them.
Yep. Now it is 1 red for a 3/2. When it enters the battlefield, deal 2 damage to target creature you don't control. All right. Yeah. Love this. Yep. Body kills a tiny creature. We're happy. Yeah. It's a good card.
Yep. Absolutely.
Pick this pretty early, like 3rd, 4th pick.
Yep. Flames on Kavus. We love them.
Yeah.
Frostwielder, 2 red for a creature human shaman that is a 1/2. It has tap, deal 1 damage to any target. If a creature dealt damage by it would die this turn, remove it from the game instead.
So exile it. Yeah, this card's bad.
Yeah, this is a lot of mana, very small stats.
Too much. This is trying to be like a slightly I do more than Tim, which is Prodigal Sorcerer.
Yeah,
and well,
3 mana.
At that time already, we've gotten way past what Tim would ever have been
Prodigal
good
Sorcerers are not very good back then for that mana cost.
Yeah.
The effect can be good, but...
Yeah. Now it is 1 red for a 2/2. Honor. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card, like that ability. And it has Fire Breathing. Go ahead and make it bigger. Yeah, this card's fine. I don't think it's great. It's a filler card, but it's...
Definitely filler.
And it's low side filler, but there's decks that this will be better in. Obviously, the discard decks will be happier to discard their cards to draw new cards over and over again. Yeah, this card's fine.
All right. Fumiko, the Low Blood, is 2 red for a 3/2. Legendary creature, human samurai, almost said shaman. It has Bushido X, where X is the number of attacking creatures. So that either theirs or yours, so it'll still matter on blocks or attacks.
Yep.
Creatures your opponents control attack each turn available.
Oh, this card's great.
Yeah.
This card's really good.
Yes.
First off, making your opponent's creatures attack whenever you want them to,
means
at all
you
times,
get to attack through.
you get good blocks.
Yeah.
And you get to attack through. And she is a good blocker.
Really
She's
good
not a
blocker.
great attacker, which is funny.
No.
Especially because your opponents aren't going to have blockers.
Yeah, so she's just hitting for 3.
But she is a very good blocker because every turn she is getting bigger by your opponent's entire size, and then you get through with your other guys, but you leave back Fumiko to smash them.
So she's just abyssing your opponent every
Yeah,
time.
she abysses them, and you get to attack with everybody. It's amazing card. Fumiko now is 2 red for a 3/2. Creatures your opponents control attack each turn if able. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, honor, she gets +1/+1 until end of turn for each creature you control. All right, so she's great with the tokens.
The difference here, clearly, and I know you're going to go over this, but I was going to say, is instead of being an incredible blocker to just abyss them, she's using just the I'm good at attacking because they never can block now.
Yeah. So she is much more bent on attacking because they're all tapped.
Yeah.
All your opponent's creatures are tapped. But she is also, because she's going to get huge based on the honor.
Yeah.
Every time you play a creature, you're going to get +2/+2, +3/+3, +4/+4,
Yep.
all going on to this 3/2 you already had. Your opponent's creatures are all tapped. Just kill them. Kill them. Yeah, she's still good. I think she's less good than the old one, but she's still great.
Yeah, but the point is to make her more aggressive.
She is an early pick still. Very early.
Yeah. If you know you're at least one of those colors and not too hard on a second color yet.
I would consider Pac-Man picking one, and this is what I'm saying. So, there's a chance that I go, I'm playing aggro today. This is what I'm going to do.
Sure, definitely. I can definitely see that. Gaze of Adamaro is 2 red for an instant arcane, and it deals damage to target player equal to the number of cards in their hand.
Yeah, it's not good, but you played it sometimes.
I mean, if it killed them, it killed them, but...
Yeah.
Bleh. Bad design, not fun design.
Yeah.
It just punishes big hand, and
Yeah.
do we care? No.
No, for 4 mana
Adamaro-
especially. Ugh.
Adamaro, he's out there punishing big hands too, so...
Alright, Gaze of Adamaro for 2 red, Tribal Instant Spirit. Gaze of Adamaro deals 6 damage to target creature. If you have 1 or fewer cards in hand, it deals 3 damage to that creature's controller as well. Yeah, this card's great. 4 mana, almost always kill something is really, really good. Being able to hit the 3 to the face if you're going for the small hand size is even better. We're always playing this card. You're picking this really early.
Yep.
Second pick, easy.
Yeah, something you might not think about is this sort of formatting is nice in aggro decks because they want low drop creatures that are easy to play. And then by the time we get to the point where we're using this as a removal to get a big creature out of the way so we can attack, we're low on cards anyway, so it's going to hit the 3 damage.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing we've actually seen before is the expensive removal spells that also hit face are our
That are good
favorites.
for aggro
Because
decks.
after we've already played all our creatures, you don't want to play creatures in the late game in aggro decks because then they don't attack the turn they come out. So if they have haste, you'll do it, but this one goes face.
Yeah, super good. All right, next card. Genju of the Spires, red, Enchant Mountain, just like all the other Genjus, it'll work very similarly. It has 2, it becomes a 6/1 red spirit creature until end of turn. It's still a land, and whenever the enchanted land is put into a graveyard, you may return Genju of the Spires to your hand.
Yep, it's 6/1. That card's fine. Especially because
it's repeatable.
I was going to say, it rips through people's creatures. Because if they're not able to block, if they're not able to take the 6 damage, they have to block and trade because their creature's going to die.
Their
with
creature's
6 power
always
creature.
going to die.
And you're like, just bring back the Genju and do it again next turn. So you bring back the Genju instantly. You play it on your next mountain. And then next turn you'll be like, all right, rev it up. Let's go.
Let's keep going. Yep.
Now it is 2 and a red, enchant permanent you control. Enchant permanent you loses all abilities and is a 6/1 with trample and haste, spirit. The old one didn't have any keywords. This one does.
Nope, this one does.
whenever enchanted permanent dies, return it to its owner's hand. Like the old other Genjus.
We're not
this
keeping the Genju, so we want to make sure it's dealing damage.
Yeah, this doesn't do anything like what the old one does for the always killing your creatures.
The way
thing.
you play it, it's completely different.
Right.
Yeah.
It's completely different. I think it is also significantly worse than the old one. But getting haste and trample, gonna get them. I actually quite like. You can play. The haste will very rarely come up actually, but it will come up. I think on your you just throw it on a 1/1 that has abilities that you want later. I don't know. Yeah, this card's I think pretty weak.
Seems good.
The trample is nice.
Next card, Ghostlit Raider. Well, this one is. I was gonna say this one's the one that's most likely to die immediately. Yeah. So you're putting it on a creature that you want to die immediately, or you want to go back to your hand immediately.
Right.
Yeah. Ghostlit Raider, 2 and a red for a 2/1 creature spirit that has 2 and a red tap. It deals 2 damage to target creature. It also has Channel, 3 and a red. Discard it to deal 4 damage to a creature.
Oh, this card's great.
Yeah, it's a removal spell, and back then 4 mana for 4 damage to a creature instant speed is great. That's awesome.
Really
that's
good.
Gonna kill creatures, and we care about that.
Yeah. But then also, if you're going slow and your opponent's on the wide side or on the idiot,
ding.
3 mana repeatable deal 2 is really strong.
Yep.
Yeah, this card's good. Now we have almost the same 2 and a red for a 2/1 has 2 and a red tap. Deal 2 damage to target creature, just like before. Now its channel is bigger, so it's 4 red, discard it to deal 6 damage, divided as you choose among any number of target creatures. That channel is really good, which is great because it makes up for how much worse the ability is now. The tap ability on the Ghostlit Raider gets a lot worse with how our creatures are now.
Well,
and how much mana that is a lot.
I've buffed a lot of power and toughnesses, so the 2 damage doesn't go as far as it used to.
So that channel is more what we're looking at for this card. We recognize that it's a 3 mana 2/1 with that ability, but the main point of this card is 6 mana, instant speed, deal 6 divided among any target creatures, which is a good card.
Yep, it's a pretty good card. Alrighty.
Not a high pick.
No, I don't think it's, not a high pick. It is also nice that, so you're usually doing this as a 6 mana card, but against the slow, like the faster decks, it could be, it's expensive though.
Right.
It could be nice to have repeatable to kind of round that corner.
Right.
Or against the tokens decks, it could be okay. It's a lot of mana.
The reason this isn't a high pick, by the way, is 6 mana for a removal spell is a lot.
It's a lot. Yeah, and it's, again, only going to be good against smaller creatures, because otherwise it's like...
I don't know. 6 mana kill a creature is also something I might do.
Yeah.
That's
You're
fine.
right. You're right. That's fair, actually. Alright, Glacial Raise, 1 and a red for an instant arcane. Deals 2 damage to any target, Spice and Arcane, 1 and a red.
Good card. It's 2 mana shock. We like those in limited sometimes, but particularly this one you can repeat with a Splice.
Yep.
This card's good.
Very good.
So we have it slightly better now. It's 1 and a red for a Tribal Instant Spirit. It deals 2 damage divided as you choose between 1 or 2 targets. With Splice and Instant Sorcery, 1 and a red. The being able to divide it helps us get better against the tokens decks and stuff. Mm-hmm. This card's still pretty good. It's worse because, again, power toughnesses are bigger, all that stuff. But
it's repeatable, so we didn't want to go too far.
This card's playable.
Yep. Don't
pick it early.
Right. Glitterfang, 1 and a red for a creature spirit. Haste at the end of turn, return it to your hand. It's a 1/1.
It's better than some of the other stuff that we've had for cheap creatures that go, because it
in this set
goes. It's bad though.
It's so bad
because blocking's really good.
Yeah.
So this card's mostly really bad. You expect this to be 1 mana, deal 1 damage once or twice.
But here's where it's a little bit. Here's what it can do. It returns itself to your hand every turn, and is
whether
a spirit,
you attacked or not.
So you get to have spirit trigger once per turn.
Again. So
for 1 mana.
That's the thing we like for Glitterfang. Glitterfang was playable because of that, I think.
Yep.
Now it is red, haste, 2/1 to begin your step, return it. It's the same thing, except for it's a 2/1.
It's just better attacking.
This card attacks better. It deals 2 damage on turn 1, and then maybe 2 more damage on turn 2, and then after that, you get to do it for the spirit stuff. It does the exact same thing, but
stuff.
Really strong, actually. Card's just good.
Yep.
This card's really good.
It matters more now, too, because in your aggro decks, you're often going to have a lot of honor, and it's going to, if you can't attack with it, you're still going to be allowed to 1 mana trigger all my honor.
Yeah, I like this card a lot. I will, if you know you're in the honor deck or in an aggro deck, you want to pick this relatively early, actually.
Yep, seems very good, actually. Yep. Goblin Cohort, red for a 2/2 Goblin Warrior. Can't attack unless you've cast a creature spell this turn.
I think this card was playable. I can't remember.
It
blocks still. It still blocks as well.
If we live in Magical Christmas Lands where we're curving out, it's
just a 1 mana 2/2 in that case. Yeah.
For attacking, and then it can block no matter what.
Yeah, it's fine. Now it's a red for a 2/3 defender. Whenever the creature enters the battlefield under control, it loses defender until end of turn. So it almost does the same thing.
Yep.
Except for it's got 1 more toughness.
And also it's ETB on creatures instead of casting them.
Yeah. This card's almost the same card with 1 more toughness. I think it is fine. It gets worse just because creatures got better.
Yeah.
I would play this in highly aggressive decks, but
2 power, 1 drop.
Only sometimes.
Yeah. Godo, Bandit Warlord, is 5 and a red for a 3/3 legendary creature, human barbarian. When it enters the battlefield, search your library for an equipment card and put it into play. If you do, shuffle your library. Whenever it attacks for the first time each turn, untap it and all samurai you control. After this phase, you get an additional combat phase.
Yeah, it's a good card.
If you have anything to get with it, it's a good card. Very good card.
Yep.
If you don't, and you have some samurai, it's decent.
Yep. It's 6 mana. It's dumb, but like, and so much of the combat that mattered in this set was in the air. So like that's rough, but you can make this work. You could make this work at the time. It worked. Now it's 4 red for a 3/3. Enter the battlefield. Search your library for equipment. Put it in the battlefield. Shuffle your library. Whenever it attacks for the first time each turn, if it's equipped, untap all creatures you control after this phase. You get an additional combat phase. So it's
This one
the
didn't
same
say if it's
except
equipped.
for
This one says it.
Yep, except for if it's equipped.
And then it attacks all your creatures instead of just samurai.
Yeah, and it doesn't care about samurai. It just does it all. So it's the same kind of card, almost the exact same altogether. Yeah, I think it got a lot worse. I don't know what our equipment looked like yet, so I'm not sure of that.
Good.
But
Like
aside from that,
really good.
the main thing that you'll be happy with on this card is trying to jam 2 attack steps in.
Yep.
Who cares if Godo dies? That kind of deal.
Get a little bit of value within equipment, even if you can't. It's just like.
Yeah, I expect this card to be fine.
Yeah.
Like low, like.
It's still a lot of mana. You still got to pay the mana to equip it too. It's got to survive.
Yeah, low power mid pick. Like it's fine.
It does replace itself technically by just putting an equipment from your
Deck into play.
So
Yeah, if you have a good equipment, this card's good. It's still 6 mana.
Jit, just get your Jit, Nate.
Oh, just get your Jit.
Just get your Jit.
Duh.
Your Jite. I mean.
No.
Anyway, Godo's Irregulars is red for a 1/1 creature human warrior that has red, deals 1 damage to target creature blocking it.
This is another one of those cards that's just like, dude. Look,
I'll hit you for 1.
I'll hit you for 1 every turn.
Yeah, exactly. That's all this is.
Yeah, because like, I mean, the big thing about this is it's cooler than some of the other ones because threat of activation is a real thing.
Yeah.
Because you attack, they're like, oh, he has all that red mana up. I can't block with my 4/4 because then he'll trade.
And you don't have
and
to
then
spend
it's
the mana.
second main phase, I'll play a creature. Like
The only
it's
difference
fine.
is you're not gaining anything.
But yeah,
It's
the thing
1
you gain
damage.
is 1 damage a turn.
That's bad.
Yeah, I don't like Godo's Irregulars. Now it is Godo's Irregulars. Red. 1/1. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under control, honor, it gets +1/+0 until end of turn. Whenever you discard or sacrifice this, you may pay red. If you do, create a 2/1. Ooh, baby. I really like that. The ability of casting Godo's Irregulars and having an honor effect is weak, but then we get rid of it and pay red and have a 2/1. I like a lot.
Trigger other honor stuff or whatever else you care about.
Dude. This card's really good.
Yeah.
So you only want it in the discard or sacrifice deck, in my opinion, but it is always good in them. You're going to pick this not super high, specifically because it's only good in the discard or sacrifice deck. So if you're in the discard or sacrifice deck, nobody else wants this card. So just get it late.
You know what? I think you're underestimating honor. Now that I'm thinking about it. Do you remember Foundry Street Denizen?
Yes, it was really strong and constructed.
Okay. Next one is Hanabi Blast. 1 red. Sorry. A constructed that had a Burning Tree Emissary. Alright. Hanabi Blast. 1 red. Instant. Hanabi Blast deals 2 damage to target creature or player. Hanabi Blast. Return Hanabi Blast to its owner's hand, then discard a card at random.
So the thing that this does is it is 1 red. It has there's an ability in play for you. You have an emblem that says 1 red. Discard a card at random, deal 2 damage to anything. That's what it says.
It can discard itself, though.
Right. By having this in hand, you have an emblem in play that says that.
Oh, right.
And once this is no longer in your hand, you don't have that emblem anymore.
Weird.
It's playable. Like it's actually playable.
I remember hearing it was playable.
Like it's actually
It just looks
playable.
so bad, though.
Like you just have a handful of cards, and all of them are weaker than a shock, and you need to shock some things, and you're like, all right, because all the cards in this hand sucked, so they're all weaker than a shock.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's playable. Now it's 1 red instant. It deals 2 damage to any target. Return this to your hand, then discard a card of your choice. All right, same kind of deal. This is mostly good when your hand is full of bad cards or lands that you don't need. So it's not common that it'll be great, but whenever it is, it's really good. And whenever it's not, it's 3 mana shock, which is weak. It's
But
just
it's giving
weak.
you this
It's just
option to
weak.
do the other stuff, though.
Yeah, I want to play this card. I expect this to be pretty weak, pretty bad even.
Cool. Hearth Kami, 1 red. Creature, spirit, 2/1. You may pay X, sacrifice to destroy target artifact with converted mana cost X.
Good card, I think. It's a filler. I mean, it's just a filler, but like good filler. You know?
Yeah, it's a 2 mana 2/1 Goblin Piker. So back then, that's fine. That was reasonable filler back then. The vanilla version, I mean, was reasonable filler. And this has the extra text of getting rid of your opponent's good artifacts if you pay the extra mana.
There just weren't any good artifacts in this set. Is the problem?
I don't remember if there. I don't think there were.
I mean, there were. There was assuming that was GT,
But yeah, all of the equipments were probably reasonable and limited actually, because most of them gave pumps on power and toughness, and most of them did extra stuff.
Okay.
But
otherwise, it is 2 mana, 2/1 Goblin Piker is
Fine.
your regular
Spirit.
filler for this set.
There's a spirit in that too.
Yeah.
So spirits mattered. So
Yeah. Now it is 1 and a red for a 2/1 that has 2 sacrifice, draw a card. Whenever it dies, you may pay red if you do destroy target artifact. This is more of that kind of what did you call it?
cycle from play.
Cycle from play cycle, and I think it's not bad. I like this one less than the old one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Yeah, because it's dies triggers more
Just
situational.
pay red and it has to kill an artifact.
Yeah.
But it's Goblin Piker. Yeah, this is worse than the other one.
But you can
This is still
draw a
fine.
card. Yep.
Yeah. Low pick, but like decent filler.
Yep. Next one, Heartless Detsugu is 3 red for a 4/3 legendary creature ogre shaman. You can tap it to deal damage to each player equal to half their life total rounded down.
It's bad.
Yep.
It's a 5 mana 4/3 though. Better stats than we're used to in that time. Like not in that time, but in that set. Better stats than we're used to in that set.
At the time, this is still bad stuff.
And at the time, this is still bad stats. Yep. Yeah, you don't want to play this card.
No.
3 red now for a 5/4. Tap. It deals damage to each player equal to half that player's life total rounded down. So it is the same except for it's a 5/4 instead of a 4/3, right?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I don't like this card much either, but it is a 5 power creature. 5 power creatures are really dumb and limited. Like they do a lot, especially at 5 or less mana. I think I usually wouldn't play this card either, but it does end games sometimes. Yeah. This card's weak.
Hidetsugu's second right is 3 red. Instant. If target player has exactly 10 life, Hidetsugu's second right deals 10 damage to them.
I don't have to say anything.
I don't have to say anything either. Read the card. Next.
2 black-red, instant. Discard any number of cards and sacrifice any number of permanents. You draw cards equal to the number of cards discarded, and permanents sacrifice this way +1. This card is awesome for this particular archetype only, I think. It does do the whole +1 thing, so when you cast this and do nothing, you draw a card. So for that, like you choose to sacrifice nothing, discard nothing, you draw a card. So that's a great failure, but that's not what we're ever going to do. We're going to sacrifice all our bad cards, our extra lands. We're going to discard our cards that are bad in hand, and we'll be pretty happy with being able to turn it into something else.
Sacrifice our bad creatures.
But I just don't think that that's enough to play it in another deck. You know, I don't think it's good enough for another deck. But I think this will be very, very good in the sacrifice and discard deck. So I don't think it's I don't think it's an early pick. I think it's a low pick, high power.
Yep, love that. Homura, a human ascendant, 4 red for a 4/4. It can't block.
Ugh.
Why would you put that on a red card? It should be saying, we all know this, attacks each turn if able. Especially with what this card is. When it dies, flip it. Returns to play flipped. Creatures you control get +2/+2 and have flying and fire breathing. This card's so stupid.
You had to kill this card, but if you did, baby,
It's so powerful.
That's why it didn't say the attacks each turn if able. It's because they didn't want you to block in the first turn you played this either.
Yeah, that's true. Fuck this card.
This card's just so powerful if you flip it. So find a way to do it and you win the game. Now it is a 6/4 instead of a 4/4. 4 red attacks each turn if able. When it dies, return to the battlefield transformed. With, because you can put +1/+1 in flying and fire breathing. It's still extremely strong, but it's 6 mana. It's kind of rough. It's fire breathing. It has the now. It can block on the first turn, so your opponent probably won't attack on the first turn. This card's out,
It's fine.
unless you're gonna give them a win or something.
Yeah.
It's hard to say in that scenario, but I think this card, giving all of your creatures flying again, will still be very strong, especially because we are a sacrifice format now.
Yeah.
We have a lot of sacrifice effects. We could just sacrifice our Homura
And get it back as this.
win the game.
Yep.
Yeah, I expect this card to be a good end game card. Probably a bomb.
It's still 6 mana, you know?
Yeah, it's a lot of
The
mana.
6 mana enchantment that says creatures you can get +1/+1 flying and fire breathing is a good card, but it's still 6 mana.
But I think also a 6 mana 6/4 that whenever you need it to become this, it becomes this is better.
Yeah,
You know?
I think that's better too. Yeah. All right, next card: Haunted of Infinite Rage, 2 red. Legendary enchantment Shrine. At the beginning of your upkeep, deal damage to target creature or player equal to the number of shrines you control.
It's just bad. Like, it does the thing, but it's just bad.
We kept it the same. I didn't think there was a better way to do it because it targets creatures, so I didn't want it
being
too
able to
mana.
target creatures is nice because you can kill off the tokens and stuff sometimes. But
Yep. Otherwise, you're just ping and paste for one.
I expect this card to be bad and never played.
Yep, probably, unless you already have a shrine.
Yeah. If you get 2 shrines, these cards are always
Boom,
like
did
slightly
it.
better.
Izuka, The Ruthless. 3 red for a 3/3 Bushido, 2 legendary creature, human samurai. I should learn what order I should be saying these in. 2 red, sacrifice samurai. Samurai you control, gain double strike until end of turn.
So you have to have enough samurai to be able to both sacrifice a samurai and have enough samurai that have double strike to be happy to do it. To play your 5 mana 3/3 and pay 3 mana for this effect of sacrificing a samurai.
Bushido 2.
Bushido 2. This card's bad.
This card's bad. This card's... Man, it really wants you to do a lot.
Now it is 3 red for a 4/4. Honor. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, Izuka gets +2/+2 until end of turn. 1 and a red. Sacrifice a creature. Target creature gains double strike until end of turn. So it doesn't hit all of your samurai. It just hits one creature. This card's very strong. Partially because honoring and then sacrificing something to give Izuka double strike is the main plan to go here. But you can just give something else double strike as well.
Yep.
This card should be very strong, I think. This is a bomb, I think.
Cool. I don't think it's as bomby as some of the other ones we talked about.
Right, yeah, this is a low bomb.
Still needs you to do stuff. Removal still works against it. You still have to pay to make it double strike, but it's good. It's good.
Yeah. Double strike's just a lot.
Yes, for sure. Initiative Blood is 3 red for a 2/2 that has tap, deal 1 damage to target creature that was dealt damage this turn. If that creature dies, you get to flip it into Goka, the Unjust. Tap, deal 4 damage to target creature that was dealt damage this turn. It's a 4/4.
This card's bad.
This card's bad.
It's a 4 mana 2/2 with no text.
4 mana 2/2 with no text. It
like the vast majority
really
of the time.
is, yeah.
Like, so much of the time that's what it is.
So we did.
Instead, it is now a 3 and a red 3/3. With red, it deals 1 damage to any target that was already dealt damage this turn. If a target dies this way, transform Initiative Blood. So instead of tap, we can do red, so we can have something to take 1 damage and then play enough red to kill it and flip. I like that a lot better.
Yes, yes.
And it turns into 5/5 Gakko the Upset. Gakko the Upset.
Oh, fuck. It's Goka, not Gakko.
Oh. Johnny's going to change that. It's
I'll
Goka.
fix it.
Goka the Unjust. And it has red, deal 1 damage to any target. Okay, this card is very strong, I think. I don't know how close to bomb it is. It might be a bomb.
We're starting as a 4 mana 3/3 that you do...
You have to try. No, you have to try too hard. This is not a bomb. This is just a good card.
So you gotta try. But the flip side is...
You have to have a lot of red mana available when things are taking damage so that you can finally kill something off. And then after that, you want to use all your red mana to things down. Machine gun, however you want to call it. Yeah, this card's great. I want to pick it relatively early. It's not a bomb.
Yep. Inner Fire, 3 and a red. Sorcery, add red for each card in your hand. 4 mana to add red for each card in your... It's...
In order for this to do anything,
you
have to have 5 other cards in your hand. This just be your 6th card.
Yep.
This is terrible.
This card's bad. It is one of the cards that originally I was thinking about turning into a completely different card until I decided to keep Rituals.
So now it is red, add triple red. As an additional cast to cost it, sacrifice any permanent. Okay, so this is Infernal Plunge, but instead of it needing to be a creature, it can be any permanent.
Yep.
I still don't think Rituals are good.
Right.
So I still don't think this card is good. But this one is a lot easier to deal with than the Desperate Ritual. This would be better.
You go +2 on mana.
Yeah. I still don't like this card. I still won't play this card.
No, I don't. Well, you're right.
Yeah.
You won't play this card. But if the Rituals things, that the payoffs for having Rituals and doing all the stuff we're talking about exist, this will be really good, and it's worth trying. And then either we just keep them and go, yep, that was worth a try, but it's bad, or if we think it's the right call, we will change the Rituals.
Sure.
But I think it's going to be fun to try.
Okay.
Just like how we've had stuff that cheats stuff into play, it could be really interesting. For example...
The power level on that is so much higher than what these are looking at, though.
Huh?
The power level on cheat is so much higher than this.
I'm saying you've got like your Through the Breach, and you cheat your Through the Breach. Like you make your...
That across so many different cards.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not going to happen.
No, you're right. But I'm just saying, look at all these things that are interesting, and that could be why you try these out.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on. Into the Web of War, 3 red enchantment. Whenever a creature comes to play under your control, it gets +2/+1 and gains haste until end of turn.
That's cool.
This card's pretty decent.
I don't think
5 mana is a lot, but
yeah, at 5 mana I think this card's bad, but it's very cool.
it's pretty good. Like that's a good effect.
All your creatures having haste.
And +2/+0.
Well, no, all your creatures having haste is not good enough.
No.
All your creatures having +2/+0 is not bad, but not good enough either.
Permanently? It's not permanent. It's until end of turn.
Oh, it's only until end of turn. That's even worse then. Yeah, so the thing is that you're getting out of this more than anything is the haste. Mm-hmm. It only hits your creatures that come into play to give them the +2/+0.
Yeah.
So this is pretty much just all your creatures have haste with a tiny bit of upside. This card's bad.
It's the same.
Yeah, this card's bad. It's slightly better because of how many times we expect to re-enter our creatures.
Yeah.
I don't think I will ever play this card.
Yeah. Yeah. I was thinking it was pretty good. I was looking at it and I thought it was a pretty strong card. 5 mana is a lot, and I was thinking that. I just thought the effect was powerful still, and I wasn't sure. I mean, 5 mana in the aggro.
You want to compare it to like Rhythm of the Wild?
Rhythm of the Wild is
1 green red.
Riot, right?
And all your creatures have Riot.
Okay. So this is too expensive. I'm trying to think. What would I want to do then?
I don't know. I think at 4 mana, I still don't want to play this card, but that's more where it deserves to be costed.
I'll figure it out. I want it to be something that incentivizes the strategies it's trying to be a part of too.
Yeah,
so.
I like that you were able to turn this into an honor trigger. That's really cool.
Yeah,
but...
it is really cool. I'll think about it.
Okay.
One of the options I was thinking about is whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, creatures you control get +1/+0 and haste until end of turn. So
it's better with tokens, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right, anyway, into the fray. Red, instant, arcane, target creature attacks this turn of Fable, splice, and arcane for red.
This card looks terrible. It's better than it looks. It's still terrible, though.
Forcing things to attack means you get to dictate battle, and you can attack through, or
you can
block
kill people's
and kill.
second best creature or their best creature if you just have a better blocking board than
It's
they
almost
have.
like a fight spell in a way.
Yeah, it's not good though.
Yeah.
I know, like we just talked it up so hard, but like that's still so specific in when it's good.
Yeah.
But this one now instead says 2 in a red, travel instant spirit at the beginning, or as an additional cost to cast or splice this. Sacrifice the creature. Its splice cost is also 2 in a red. Into the fray, deals damage equal to the sacrificed creature's power to any target.
It's fling for one more mana.
Fling
splice.
for 1 more mana with splice. I expect this card to be very bad, but you can probably make it work in certain specific ways. No, probably not. Probably not. You probably can't make this card work. It's probably not worth it, but I do like it. I like being able to. I like flings.
Me too.
Every once in a long time, you can find a deck that wants to play them in limited, but it's really rare. And so this card is even worse than that, I think. I don't think it's actually better. I think it's worse just because of mana cost.
That's fair. That's fair. Well, alrighty. Ire of Kaminari. 3 in a red, instant arcane. Ire of Kaminari deals damage to target creature or player equal to the number of arcane cards in your graveyard.
This card's not good. I know we said even at high costs removal was fine at this time, even if it dealt small amounts of damage. Too often this card would deal 0 or 1 damage. Far too often.
Crazy. My brain was thinking this would be good.
No, this card is bad.
Because my brain is thinking of like cycling, and cycling has the Zenith Flare.
Yeah, Zenith Flare is amazing.
My brain was like...
There just weren't enough arcane cards that like you'd play.
Yeah.
That would actually like be cast before you cast this when you need to.
Like 4 mana instant, deal damage equal to
because on the first few turns, of the game, you need to be playing creatures. So this isn't on turn 4. You're not casting this turn 4.
Right.
So you're casting this much later in the game, and I mean
your deck probably has a lot less of those than that.
And
deck
so that means
cycling.
this is dead in your hand until that point as well.
Oh well, we didn't keep it. I just was talking about it.
2 blue red tribal instant spirit. Whenever it is revealed, it deals 2 damage to each opponent. Pretty cool. Reveal the top 4 cards of your library. Target opponent chooses 1 card, and you choose 1 card. Put the chosen cards in your hand and the rest in your graveyard. So they're going to choose your worst card. You'll choose your best, most likely. But that is pretty cool. I like this a lot. And it, yet again, does a thing that I didn't notice last time we talked about this effect. This reveals the top 4 cards of your library.
Yes, and so all of those trigger other things.
Yeah, if there are any spirits in there, they're going to do their spirit triggers. Just like if you reveal an Ire of Kaminari to an Ire of Kaminari, it would deal 2 damage. That can't happen in our cube right now, but still, that's the idea. Yeah, this card should be good. It'll draw a card that's good and another card.
Yep.
Now that card will probably be like not very useful. It'll be a land or something, but like that's something.
Yep. The other 2 cards go to your graveyard too, which is good.
Yeah. So you can use them for soul shift effects or whatever. Yeah, I like Ire of Kaminari here a lot. Its reveal effect doesn't matter, but it's nice.
Next card, Ishiaki Crack Shot. I said that fast.
You said that real fast. It was nice. Ishiaki.
1 red for a 1/1 legendary creature, Goblin Warrior. Whenever an opponent plays a Spirit or Arcane spell, it deals 2 damage to them.
I hate it.
It's just a hate card for Spirit and Arcane stuff.
Yeah, just don't worry about it. Like,
don't think about this card.
I don't want to think about it.
Yep.
1 in a red now for a 2/2. Whenever you discard a card or sacrifice a permanent, you may pay 1. If you do, I can't do it, Johnny. Ishiaki Crack Shot deals 1 damage to any target. All right, so that's fine. It's a 2/2 for 2 is the best part.
Yep.
So this card is about just under rate, so it's worth putting in your deck if it does anything. So if you're playing the discard and sacrifice deck, this should be able to do a lot. The paying 1 extra mana to deal 1 damage is weak. It's really weak, but it's really useful. So whenever you can do it, it's going to help you. You're going to be happy to have this. This card is good. Don't pick it highly, but it'll fill out your deck really nicely. Really nicely.
Yep. Jawari, the Earth of Flame, is 3 red for a 3/3 legendary creature spirit. Has X and a red, tap it, and it deals X damage to a creature without flying. But it also has Channel for X red, and discard it. It deals X damage to each creature without flying.
This card's fine. This card's good. It's less good than it looks. It looks like repeated removal or board wipes, and it is both those things, but just for a lot of mana.
Yeah, very bad rate on what you're getting out of it.
But it's still fine.
Still fine, yep.
Now it is 3 red for a 4/5. Has X and a red, tap, deal X damage to target creature. Doesn't have to have no flying. And XX red, discard it, deal X damage to each creature. So yeah, it's again repeated removal or board wipe for a lot of mana. The channel cost is going to be, generally speaking, more than the old one. Because in order to get 1 damage from the old one, you needed 4. 1 damage from this one's 3. But anything above that, once we get to 2, they both cost 5. If we get to 3, this one costs more than the old one. This costs 7 to channel. But it's a 5 mana 4/5 instead of a 5 mana 3/3. I think that's a huge upgrade and makes the repeated removal on this card a lot better. So I think this card is, again, still just as good as the old one, actually, is what I'd say.
In their
for their formats. Yeah, this will be just as good for our format as that one was for that. Don't pick it highly. It's pretty good.
Cool.
Be happy to have it.
Love it. Kami of Fire's Roar is 3 and a red for a 2/3 creature spirit. Whenever you cast a spirit or arcane spell, target creature can't block this turn.
Cat blocks are good in this format because blocking's so good. This card's
bad.
This card's bad. This card's bad. But
the effect was gonna.
The effect could win you the game.
One of the few ways, yeah, that you're getting through.
Okay, now it is instead a 3 and a red 4/4. Whenever you cast a spirit, a spell, or reveal a spirit card, target creature can't block this turn, and it attacks every turn. Yeah, I like this card. It's really big and it wins the game again, just like the old one did. By no blocks. I think this card should be very good in most aggro decks. The attacks each turn, if able, makes it a lot weaker, though. So I may be overrating it. Maybe not most aggro decks, maybe just many aggro decks.
Yep, big stats, but, so you're going to like, oh, we're going to get the bad.
Maybe you absolutely need the can't block part.
Yeah.
Maybe you need to have a fair amount of
so you can make sure their big creatures don't block this. Their Jawari doesn't block it.
Yeah.
All right, next card. Kikijiki, you know it.
Oh, yes.
Kikijiki Mirror Breaker, 2 red for a legendary creature, Goblin Shaman with haste. It's a 2/2 and has tap. Create a token copy of target non-legendary creature you control. It gains haste, sacrifice at the beginning of its end step.
And it is the exact same.
Yep,
I'm a priest of the Mirror Breaker. I have played many Kikijiki decks in my life. This card is awesome. I love it so much. The main thing that it does in Constructed is make it within combos with cards like Restoration Angel or Pestermite or Deceiver Exarch or those kinds of things, and that's really cool and fun. And in Limited, sometimes it can do really cool things too, but usually what it does is it re-triggers some ETBs.
Yep.
You tap it, you target something with a really good enters battlefield effect, you get a new one, it gets to attack, and you get its effect.
Yep.
Every turn.
Also dies triggers, because this one says sacrifice.
Yeah.
I played this in Mystery Draft.
Yeah.
In my black-red sack. It was incredible.
Yeah,
This
you
card
can
was
sacrifice
so
the token, and you're like, yeah, go.
I had like what was it? Eldrazi Hatcher or whatever, the 4 and a red, make 3 0/1s, 2/2 or whatever it was, or 3/3.
Yeah, and just keep doing it.
Just keep making them. I had like 12 of them. It was so good.
Yeah, card's so fun. It is 3 red, which is definitely a big
hard to cast. Yeah,
big barrier to it in Limited, so that's noticeable. It doesn't matter. The card's still really cool. It is not a bomb. It is not automatically an early pick, except for everyone that sees it is going to pick it. Everyone loves Kikijiki. It's too cool.
You can't target legendaries, so you can't target your dragons. That's important to know.
Itself. Dang
it! I should have thought about that.
So that is a big drawback in this set in particular. Actually, is that it can't target dragons and stuff. So I think the card's probably not great, but it's just so cool. You have to pick it so early.
There's plenty of dudes who have good ETBs now though as well, so that's nice. Way more than there used to be, so that's great.
Yeah.
Also works with Soul Shift as well.
Yep.
Sacrifice them, get it. But here's one key thing: there is a single card in white that has an ETB to blink something.
So if you blink Kikijiki, whenever he goes, this is the reason that it works with Restoration Angel as well. You tap Kikijiki, target the thing that blinks. The thing blinks Kikijiki, means it comes back untapped as a new creature.
Has haste.
Kikijiki says he's got haste. So he does this again to this guy. And all the copy, you get to do that again. It'll copy the guy again and flicker Kikijiki again, over and over again.
You have infinite copies.
You have infinite copies, and they all have haste because that's what Kikijiki does.
Gives them haste. So anyway, there is one spirit, it's 2, 4, 3 and a white, enters battlefield. You blink target creature, so you can blink your Kikijiki.
Yep.
And
so there is an infinite combo.
And it's just one card. Only one card gets to do it.
It's cool as heck, and people will be angry when they die to it, but
but whatever. It's 4 and 5, and removal's decent.
Triple red, So
yeah. All right, next one. Kumano Master Yamabushi. I wish I would talk right. 3 red, 4/4. Legendary creature. Human shaman has 1 in a red. Deal 1 damage to target creature or player. Whenever a creature dealt damage by him dies, you exile it.
Yeah, this card's fine. It's a 5 mana 4/4 with ability to
Pretty
ping
good.
things down.
Ping your opponent.
It's got the same situation going on as Jawari did, except for you don't have to tap it for its effect, so it can continue to be a 4/4 on the board doing its job. And then, like you said, it can hit face with its ping ability, so that can actually sometimes just win the game.
Yep.
Card's better than Jawari. So now it is instead 3 red for a 2/4 tap. Kumano Master Yamabushi deals 1 damage to any target, just like before. 1 in a red, untap it, so it'll still deal 2 mana, deal 1 damage, but it has the 1 mana deal 1 damage anytime. And also, whenever a creature dies, untap Kumano. So this is Goblin Sharpshooter on a 2/4 with the ability to untap himself for 2 mana. This card will just mow your opponent's creatures down really easily. This is probably a bomb. I'm not certain of that because of how much mana it is and how mana intensive it is. So it may not be quite a bomb. But if it isn't a bomb, it's close. So it's a high pick rate for sure. Really good card.
Yep, and that's why we took away 2 power for it, by the way.
Yep,
It's just
absolutely.
Can't be also attacking for lots.
Yeah.
All right, next. Kumano's Blessing, 2 in a red, enchant creature. You may do this with Flash. You instant speed it. And the creature gains that extra text of whenever it kills a creature, that exile that.
Yeah, this card's terrible.
Horrible. Why are we getting 3 mana?
The graveyard mattered a little bit in the set, but not
that
much. Not much, and
Not
definitely
enough
not
to
3
pay
mana much.
3 mana
Yeah, this card is barely not this. This card's not worth 1 mana.
No.
I would never have cast this card at 1 mana.
Oh my god.
This card doesn't do anything.
So trash. Oh my god. At 0 mana, this card's not playable.
Yeah, it's 0 mana.
It's not playable beyond the fact that it's 0 mana when it's at 0 mana.
Yeah.
Like the ability. If it's 0 mana, you're not playing it for its ability. So it's a bad card.
All right. Now instead it is 3 in a red for an aura enchant creature. Enchanted creature has the other ability from Kumano instead. The new ability. Tap. This creature deals 1 damage to any target. And whenever any creature dies, untap enchanted creature. So it turns a creature into a Kumano that can't untap itself. This card is probably not good enough, and I do like it. It is fine. It hits face still, just like our Kumano does, so it does do something. But at 4 mana, I'm just almost never playing. I'm never playing this card.
Yep, that's totally understandable. It's turning a creature into a Goblin Sharpshooter is really, really powerful. So
your Goblin Sharpshooter is a good card, just not good enough.
Not 2-for-1ing yourself, so But I like that. I like the design. I think the only time you'll ever, I think this is a sideboard card actually. And again,
sure, I can see that. Yeah.
You put it in against those super aggressive decks or
the
those
honor
tokens
decks.
stuff.
Yep.
So
sure.
Kumano's Pupil. 4 in a red for a 3/3 creature human shaman. Whenever a creature dealt damage by this would die this turn, exile instead. I don't know if they're obsessed with this.
Terrible card.
Terrible. Garbage,
5 mana,
trash. It wasn't even good back then.
Yep. 5 mana, 3/3 no text. Now it's 3 in a red for a 3/3 haste. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, honor trigger deals 1 damage to any target. This card seems fine. A 3/3 haste for 4 is underrate just barely. So we like that a little bit as long as it has something to do. And we're dealing 1 damage. We're pinging out our opponent's creatures sometimes. We're hitting their face sometimes. This card seems playable.
Yep.
It's filler.
It's filler. Yeah, exactly.
It's regular filler.
Regular filler, yep. Lava Spike, red, Sorcery Arcane, deal 3 damage to target player.
Unplayable Unlimited. It's a modern staple somehow. Who knew?
Who knew?
Now it is still the same because it's a modern staple and we like to keep those the same because they're just cool. Mm-hmm. I still won't pick this card.
I think there's a tiny chance
the instant sorcery spell deck
can do something here because...
Yeah, I think there was an arcane deck in that format that also sometimes played Lava Spike but didn't want to.
But it really depends on where you're going and what your finishers are. I think that's what's going to depend. If your finishers are the ones that care about you casting a spirit, then this will be it.
Maybe.
Or it'll depend. This is very weak, but A, I wasn't changing it, obviously. It's Lava Spike. And B, I do think that there's a chance that sometimes you choose this.
There's a low chance. I think it's pretty low. And
Yeah.
I don't want to. That's for sure.
Oh, also, there's a small chance that if your deck is weirdly aggressive enough, but you also like spirits, you might do
you're
this.
an aggressive spirits deck. There's a small chance you'd like, all right, I'm casting my spirit, doing my spirit effect on my guy, and also dealing 3 to you. That's enough that you'll probably die now or maybe next turn kind of thing.
Mana Size him.
I think.
See, yep, let's go with that.
Size them.
1 in a red.
Size them up.
Sorcery. Sacrifice any number of lands. Add 1 colorless to your mana pool for each land sacrificed this way.
So they knew that the card
Yeah, what? What could it be that you were trying to say?
no! Oh no! The card. What was it? The enchantment. with the guy that's out there with he traded sand for life for sand or whatever it was.
Oh, the one that you sacrifice land to make mana?
Yeah, they know that card's too good.
Yeah.
So they tried to put it on a sorcery.
What is that card called?
See?
No,
See?
Don't think about it.
See?
Anyway, moving
Okay,
on.
point is, tried to put it on a sorcery. That's terrible.
Oh, yeah, this card's garbage trash.
Which is hilarious, because you know what? It almost looks amazing.
Well, yeah, but it makes only colorless mana as well, so...
You know what? But all our lands made colored mana.
Don't think about it.
Wait, Mana Seism, why isn't that a good card?
Don't think about it.
Because when you're trying to ritual, you're trying to do it without lands. You're trying to go fast.
Yeah,
The
anyway,
reason
moving on.
that other card was good was because it was the first combo deck ever, and people didn't know how to make that good. You know,
Anyway,
sacrificing
moving
lands
on.
good. All right, now this new one is red as an additional cast to Man,
can't
every
do it.
time.
You're
an
doing
additional
alphabetical
cast to
order.
cost.
Alphabetical order, yeah.
I just read in alphabetical order. As an additional cost to cast Mana Seism, discard any number of cards and sacrifice any number of permanents. Add red. Add an additional red for each card discarded and each permanent sacrificed. So you can cast this as a red sorcery that just adds red for your ability to splice onto it if you're looking for that. But that's bad. Don't do that.
Don't think about that.
What we're trying to do is sacrifice permanents and discard cards to make more mana. I don't know why we want the mana. If we want the mana, this card seems good. Actually, like we're trying to do sacrificing and discarding. If we're trying to do something with this mana, we can do something with it. I promise. I promise.
Yeah. If ritual thing, existence thing, good.
This one's the best.
This will be the best one. But is it a thing? Next card, Minichi. The Fevered Dream is 2 and a red for a 1/2. Why? Legendary creature spirit. 1 and a red. Switch each creature's power toughness until end of turn. Why?
That's super funny.
What is
That's
this?
super funny. This card's terrible and super funny.
What are you...
I'm laughing at this card right now. In new Manichi, the Fever Dream is 2 and a red for a 1/3 legendary creature spirit. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if you have 1 or fewer cards in hand, create a 3/1 red elemental creature token with trample and haste. Sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step. Huh. This card seems fine. This card seems fine for the 1 or fewer cards deck. Mm-hmm. Yeah. We're going to be doing the discards. It also is okay with the sacrifices. You know, you do the thing, you get in for 3, and then you sack it second main, to your sacrifice effect.
Oh, yeah.
This card's fine. It's not great.
Totally.
It's
good.
It's fine.
It's fine. Mind Blaze, 5 and a red, sorcery. Name a non-land card and choose a number greater than 0.
Squandered resources.
Nice. High five. You did it. That was the card that lets you sack lands to make mana. Target player reveals his or her hand if that library contains exactly the chosen number of named cards.
They don't reveal their hand. They reveal their library.
Sorry, they reveal their library, fug. It deals 8 damage to them, then they shuffle their library. So what's happening here is you're just trying to guess how many copies of a certain card are left in their deck.
And
if you're right,
eats them for 6 mana.
8. This
card's so bad.
Nonsense.
Oh, it's so funny, though.
More nonsense.
More cards that have no text. Like, what?
Moving on.
Wait. Oh, you have to choose a greater number greater than 0. I was about to say, what if we name a non-legal card?
No, why would they ever make it? Just
I don't know.
It's Jeweled Lotus. Ta-da.
Got him. No. 5 in a red now for Mind Blaze with a nerfed artwork for sure.
For sure.
Each player discards their hand and draws 7 cards. Then Mind Blaze deals damage equal to the number of cards they've discarded this card to each opponent.
Can you talk?
I said the right words.
Discarded this card.
What?
Then Mind Blaze deals damage to each opponent equal to the number of cards they've discarded this turn. Jesus.
Did I say discarded this card?
Yeah. You said some other weird words.
I said things out of order, but I didn't say weird words. I don't think.
You're fine. You're
okay,
good.
so you do a Wheel of Fortune, and then they take damage based on the number of cards they've taken. They've discarded.
Yep.
For 6 mana, it's probably not worth it.
Fair enough.
But only probably.
But, so yeah, in a vacuum, I think this card's just way too expensive for the effect you're getting. Right. But where we like it is obviously discard triggers, and also makes both players discard. So it's a lot of mana, but here's a fun one. If you have 8 mana, now hear me out. You cast this, then one of the devouring cards. That's a lot of copies.
No.
But anyway, let's move on.
No, what this is good for...
This is cards you already have in play doing it, I know.
It's just being a Wheel of Fortune.
No.
This card is good for being
no.
an aggro deck that
can't
pops
hear
out
you.
with this
I
and
can't
Wheel of
hear
Fortunes
you.
and damages
That
your
couldn't
opponent.
be it.
It's a top end of an aggro deck.
That couldn't be
You play it sometimes, you just not most of the
you
time.
would? That's crazy. My Ocean of Infinite Rage is 7 red for a 7/4 legendary creature spirit. It comes into play with a divinity counter and it has indestructible as long as it has that counter. But you may remove that counter to destroy all lands.
Rude.
That's all Nate's got to say about it. I guess we can move on.
Rude. All right, so it's the same thing, except for we don't have to cast it to get the indestructible counter, and it's an indestructible counter instead of a divinity counter. And I don't care for destroying all lands in limited. I don't know. It's just not fun for most people. It makes the game end a bit slow.
Love Armageddon anyway. This
boring.
card, we cheat it into play to destroy all lands. If we've got a board, we can kill our opponent.
We have a 7/4 on board. Of course we can kill our opponent.
Only if we keep it. What if one of the ways we cheated it sacrifices it?
We attacked them for 7.
That's true, we did, but what if they blocked?
They didn't.
Anyway, Ogre Recluse. 3 in a red for a 5/4 creature ogre warrior that whenever a player casts a spell, tap it.
Wow. This card looks good.
This card will get to attack more than you think it will.
Yeah.
You untap on your turn, so you untap it. They have to have an instant to tap it, and you just wait till second main phase to cast a spell.
So this is like a 5/4 that attacks every turn is what it is.
If it, yeah, it has to attack each turn.
By good, I don't exactly mean good.
No.
I mean, this is attacking for 5 every turn. This is playable.
I think you would have played this back then.
Yeah, this is playable.
You might even. It's might even.
It's
playable
not
now.
good. It's really bad at blocking. Really, like almost never can block.
Stat line is good, and for then it was really good. But nowadays it's like okay. It's pretty weak filler, I think, for nowadays. This card specifically.
There's a world you'd play this now, though.
That's what I'm saying. There is a world where you would play this now.
So it must be good back then. So now it's the same thing, except for it costed mana less. I like this. 2 in a red for a 5/4 when a player casts a spell, tap it.
Now
Yeah,
you're
this seems really
incentivized
good.
to actually pick this because it's so big. But you're only picking it if you're
You're
like.
only an aggro deck, but it's
Yeah.
really good in an aggro deck. I want to pick this relatively early.
Yep. Actually,
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Once I already know I'm in an aggro deck, this is pretty high value.
Yeah, this is instant.
It's hitting
I
so
want
hard.
It. I want to hit this.
Yeah. Next card, Oni of Wild Places, 5 in red for a 6/5 creature demon spirit with haste. And beginning of your upkeep, return a red creature you control to its owner's hand.
We went over these kinds of cards. They were really bad in the set.
This one is way better than all the other ones,
Yeah.
though, because at the very least, you can get in before you have to return it.
Yeah, I was gonna say the situation on this that's worst is that you have to return it, and it's doing the same thing as the mini spirit that returned itself every turn, except for you have to return this in its upkeep. But it also yet again has haste, so it's 6 mana, 6 damage, haster. Every turn you have to pay 6 mana to do it if you're going to have to return this one, which is really bad. But this is better than the other ones because of that.
But
I think this one's playable.
This one can win the game on its own,
Yeah.
where the other ones can't. The price you're paying to win the game with it is 6 mana every turn, but
Extremely
the other ones
high.
can't do that.
Right.
The other ones can't attack if you have to return them.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. This card is better than the other ones. Definitely playable. Not good. Now it is 5 in red for a 6/5 haste. At the beginning of your upkeep, return a creature you control to its owner's hand. Doesn't have to be red anymore. That's the only change because he thinks the 6 mana 6/5 haste is good.
I do.
So that's fine. I kind of agree. 6 mana is just so much.
But at that
But I
point,
don't think
since
I wanna play this card
since
most of the
you
time.
can return any creature, it's so much easier once you're at 6 mana to have a creature to return that isn't it.
But let's just think about a 6 mana 6/5 haste with no text. How good is that? That's just good, right?
It's just good. It's just not.
That's
it's
what
not
I'm saying. And so this you're gonna want in the decks that want to return cards.
Yeah.
Is when it's good.
Or honestly, it's not amazing because I don't think this is a high pick, and I didn't want it to be a high pick.
I think this is always low pick. Yeah.
This is a very low pick, but I honestly think you're like, oh, I'm playing this aggro deck, but I just don't have the bigger creatures.
Yeah, if you just don't have the end
I'll
game,
just slap
this
this
end
in.
games. Yeah,
You know,
I would end game with this in a red deck.
Because
yeah.
I mean, you're attacking the turn you cast it for most likely.
As long as I'm not a low land red deck. I gotta have.
Yeah, you gotta be
around
like cast a
lands.
6 drop. Yeah.
Yeah.
Next card, Ore Gorger is 3 red for a 3/1. Love the stat lines in this set. This block just had the best stat lines. Creature Spirit, whenever you play Spirit or Arcane spell, you may destroy target non-basic land.
It does nothing unlimited.
What are you doing, bud? You're 5 mana. What are
You
you
have
doing?
to cast Spirits and Arcanes after this.
What are you doing,
And what
bud?
we're trying to do is destroy people's. So I'm trying to think about what this does in Constructed. And so it's a 5 mana 3/1. So we're casting it, and then we have to have the Spirits and Arcanes to destroy enough of our opponent's non-basic lands to like interrupt what they're doing. It's just not happening. This card's never doing anything in any format. Now instead it is a 3 and a red for a 5/3. Whenever you cast a Spirit spell or reveal a Spirit card, each player sacrifices a permanent. I don't know. It's symmetrical, which is good because you're not losing anything at any point in time when you're doing this. But it's a 5 and a 5/3 with a symmetrical effect like that. I think you have to be the sacrifice deck for this to do anything.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
You
even
can't-
when you are I'm not sure how good it is because you're limiting how easily you can sacrifice things by casting spirits and revealing spirits. That might be too much of a limit. I'm not sure. This might be playable in the spirits deck or in the sacrifice deck. And I don't think it's playable easily anywhere else. It's bad filler anywhere else is what I call it. Yeah. Bad filler. You can play it if you have to.
Yep, for sure. Next card, Overblaze, 3 and a red for an instant arcane. Each time target permanent would deal damage to a creature or player this turn, it deals double that much instead. Splice an arcane for 2 red.
It wins the game or nothing. Right?
Yep. Yeah, wins the game or nothing. Doubles the damage or nothing.
Yeah, this card's bad.
Oh, it's a 4-mana combat trick.
Alright, and now it is 3 and a red for a tribal instant spirit, with Splice into instant or sorcery for 2 red. Until end of turn, whenever a source you control deals damage to a permanent player, it deals double that by damage instead. It's again sort of either a win the game board wipe or nothing. So I don't like this card very much, but it is much stronger than the old one. I don't think I would play this ever. There have been cards like this in the past that didn't see play in their limited environments. I would expect this to also not see play.
Yeah, that's fair. Just transferring over the template of the old one. It's more powerful, obviously.
Yeah.
Because it just says, it almost says like your team gets double strike. Kind of thing.
Yeah.
Not exactly because it doesn't get the first strike, but all your shit deals double damage this turn.
Yep.
It's all right.
It wins the game.
Yeah. It's an instant. You can wait to see how they block.
Yeah, to make sure that it wins the game. Yeah.
So it's kind of like a team pump is mostly what it is.
Yeah. It's a trumpet blast effect, but it's 4 mana for that kind of effect. I just don't want to pay a 4 mana card for that very often, but it does win the game sometimes.
So I'm just saying it's an instant.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, Pain Kami, 2 and a red for a 2/2 creature spirit. X and a red, sacrifice it to deal X damage to our creature.
I expected this card was playable.
Back in its time,
it's removal.
Removal's just like that back then. You don't understand.
And if you're like the only person with creatures in play, it attacks for 2 a couple times.
Woo.
Because
damage on the stack, you can sack it to kill another creature. So 2 damage to that thing.
Yeah, I think this was playable.
Yeah.
Now it is one of the cycle from play cards. 2 and a red for a 2/2. Sacrifice it, draw a card. Whenever it dies, you may pay X and a red to deal X damage to target creature. Yeah, I like this card. It has the same feel where you can do the X and a red whenever it blocks or whatever to kill something. I think it's playable. I think it's not amazing. That's all these.
The rate on the stats on this one's a lot weaker, but the effects are better than other ones.
Yeah, it's a low playable, I'd say even.
Yeah. Path of Anger's Flame, 2 and a red for an instant arcane. Creatures you control get +2/+0 until end of turn. That's it.
Yeah, this was a lot better than Trumpet Blast, which is interesting because at the time that was a kind of what I would think the standard would be for this effect. This lets you be able to block, whereas Trumpet Blast says attacking creatures only get +2/+0. This is an instant, so you can use it after they. I think Trumpet Blast is also an instant, but so you use it either after they blocked when you know it kills them, or it gives you favorable trades, or on blocks to give you favorable trades, which is fine. This card was probably low playable, is what I'd say. Very low playable. Now it is instead 3 and a red for a tribal sorcery spirit. Create a 1/1 colorless spirit token. Creatures you control get +2/+0 and gain haste until end of turn. I expect this card to be quite good. It does make you a guy. That guy is until end of turn a 3/0 with haste.
3/1, 3/0. It's not dying.
It's not dying. It's a 3/1 with haste. So that's what you're getting out of the deal is a 3/1 with haste essentially, but it doesn't stay that way. Oh, you know what? Quite good. I'm taking that back. This card is fine. This card does its job when you're doing the very fast aggro deck with honor. I think this is playable in the honor decks. In the aggro honor decks. This is playable in the aggro honor decks and probably not anything else. And that's it. Yep, that's what I got.
That's reasonable. It's reasonable.
Giving all haste is cool.
Yeah. Patron of the Aki, 4 red for a 5/5 legendary creature spirit with Goblin Offering, meaning you can cast it with Flash if you sacrifice a goblin, and you get to reduce its mana by the mana cost by the mana of the goblin you sacrificed. And it has, whenever it attacks, creatures you control get +2/+0 until end of turn.
Sure.
It's hard. 7/5 when it's attacking.
Yeah. It attacks.
Yeah,
big.
this stuff gets big.
It attacks big. This card's good.
You could make it easy to cast.
At the time.
Whatever.
6 mana 5/5 with that text at the time. Great. Now, instead, we have the exact same card, except for it has Emerge instead of Goblin Offering. The Emerge gives it 5 and a red, so you can reduce its cost all the way down to red by sacrificing any creature with cost 5 or more to do that, or any cost to make it just a little cheaper. I'm explaining all the situations in which Emerge can do something. I'm going to tell you about 4, I'm going to tell you about 3, I'm going to tell you about 2.
You gotta explain. 1, it'll be 5 mana if you have second 1 cost.
Yeah. It gets cheaper when you sacrifice creatures, but you don't get the flash out of the Goblin Offering. This card's got to be good.
Yep.
Emerge makes it a lot better. Just being able to do that with anything means this comes out real early in your aggro decks. This
And
card
it's
is
hitting really
this
hard.
card is a bomb. All the emerges seem to be this way. They're just huge bombs.
Yep, very good cards. Rally the Horde, 5 and a red sorcerer. Remove the top 3 cards of your library from the game. If the last card removed isn't a land, repeat this process until you do it and the last card is a land. Put a 1/1 red warrior creature token into play for each non-land card removed from the game this way.
Whoa.
What a card.
What a card. Man,
What a
I hate
card.
this card. It's so bad.
So random.
So bad. It's too random to do anything.
You could literally get almost nothing. If you hit 3 lands on your first one, you get nothing. But, like, it's so weird.
Whoa. This card could be just nothing, yeah.
It could be you lose your deck, but you have a huge board. Like, it's weird.
Yeah, this card's really bad.
Yeah.
Now, instead, it is 3 red for sorcery. Create a 2/1 red warrior creature token for each non-land card in your graveyard. Okay. So we either sacrificed them or discarded them is the idea, because we're in red. So we did one of those things for each of these cards in the graveyard, and then it makes a bunch of 2/1s. I expect this card is just barely playable. It creates a large board of 2/1s. 2/1s are bad.
Fair enough.
At 6 mana, I mean. At 6 mana,
Oh,
2/1s are
for
bad.
sure. No, yeah. And, honor triggers, sacrifice effects. But it's 3 red.
Yeah.
And you needed stuff that was not lands in your graveyard for it to matter.
Yeah.
And your discard effects, often, you're trying to discard extra lands.
And
to
same
get
with the sacrifice sometimes.
Yeah, just sacrifice your extra lands.
Like, this card is playable in the right deck, but
Yeah.
it's not great.
We'll see. Ronin Cavekeeper. 5 and a red for a 4/3 creature, human, samurai, Bushido 2. For its time, this was probably decent, actually. Because
It's 6 mana, I don't know.
it's blocking and attacking.
You have
and
to.
Combat's
Sometimes
not.
have to.
I mean, we said that the 4 white 4/4 Bushido 2 was good.
Yeah, exactly. This is not too
it's-
much worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Just
bad.
shoot, just shoot.
Stupid old cards.
1 and a red for a 2/1 now. With honor, whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, Ronin Cavekeeper is +1/+1 until end of turn. Whenever you discard a card, create a 2/1 warrior token creature red.
You're doing great.
This ability only triggers once each turn. I expect this card to be amazing. In the discard deck, obviously. And when it's not in the discard deck, you can play it in an aggro deck with honor. You can play it in an honor aggro deck. That's fine. It's not great in that deck, but it exists. It does its job.
Yeah.
It's filler for that deck. But I expect in the discard deck, this card's kind of just annoying, like really good.
Yeah.
Especially the discard sacrifice, because you get fodder for fodder. You discard a card to your discard effect, and you get a 2/1 instantly that you can sacrifice to something
get the
else.
stuff if you're gonna least
Yeah. This card's good. This card's really good. If you know you're in that deck already, you're gonna pick it highly. If you're not, it's good filler. So you may pick this relatively highly just because you know it'll always be good in your deck.
Yeah.
And sometimes it has like a high roll.
This is what I was talking about. There are a lot more token creation than you were thinking. Like, I wanted to show you, but
Yeah.
we were getting there. And it's awesome.
I believed you.
I know. Sorry. I didn't mean. I was just letting you know.
That
The
I
cards
had
you were
seen,
looking at before, they come with this. Ronin Cliff Rider is 3 red for a 2/2 Bushido 1. When it attacks, deal 1 damage to each creature that defending player controls.
This card's terrible.
I get why they costed it the way they did, though.
Yeah.
Because that effect can be really strong.
Yeah, it can be amazing.
You could just.
It means that they can't block and have their thing survive with anything more or with anything lower than 5 toughness.
Yeah.
Like, wow.
So I get it. It's bad though. It's not
Yeah.
hitting. Like that's happening, but then they go, I won't block.
They take 2 damage.
Like, come on! I paid 5 for this.
Right, exactly.
So.
So 1 red for a 2/2. Honor. Whenever the creature enters the battlefield under your control, Ronin Cliff Rider gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Whenever it attacks, you may discard a card. If you do, create a 2/1 that's tapped and attacking. All right, yeah, this card's pretty good. It's another one like the other one, like the one we just went through, where it's fine in the honor aggro deck and it's better in the discard deck. Yeah, it's not. It doesn't have, in my opinion, as high a ceiling as that other card does, because that one is not needing you to discard cards, as in it doesn't cost the cards to make the 2/1.
You get them from somewhere else.
You get them from somewhere else. And this, I think they work well together, obviously.
Yes.
If you have them both together, just bam, bam, you're like, oh, look at this. And this one comes into play attacking, so it's really good for the aggro decks.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah,
Alrighty.
I think this is actually better in the aggro decks.
Yeah, because it doesn't require an A-B situation. It just does it itself.
Yeah, it's amazing. And the honor triggers instantly whenever you do the discard.
becomes a
It's just a
3/3.
3/3 right away. Yeah, this card's good.
Yep. Next card, Ronin Houndmaster, 2 and a red for a 2/2 creature, human samurai, haste, Bushido 1.
It's aggressive, but it's just so bad stats. Like, yeah, you just didn't play red in this format because this is what you got.
I do believe that if you did, like the other cards were better, This would actually be decent in this format because 2 and a red for a 2/2 haste. That
is
if
harder
they
to block.
block it, it's harder to block. That's good. That's pretty good for its time.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Now it is a 3 and a red for a 2/1 haste. Whenever it enters the battlefield, create another 2/1. And honor whenever another creature enters the battlefield or you control. Ronin Houndmaster gets +1/+1 until entered. So it triggers its own honor right away. So it's when you play it, it's a 3/2 haste because you get your 2/1 over here. It can get in, and then every turn after that, you're hoping to have more honor. And it also double triggers other people's honors. Yeah, this card's fine. This card's playable.
Yeah.
I don't think it's amazing. It'll feel a lot like the thing that makes 2/1 dwarves in Call Time.
Yeah.
You played it in the slow decks, which is actually I think where this might be pretty good. In slow honor decks. And if you had to, you played it in aggro decks, and it still did its job.
It seems like a pretty decent.
This one I think will be better in both of them. It'll be more this is fine in both instead of a have to or it's fine.
Yeah, for sure. Ryusi, the Falling Star, is 5 and a red for a 5/5 legendary creature, Dragon Spirit, flying. Whenever I think I said flying already. Whenever it dies,
It has flying twice.
deal 5 damage to each creature without flying.
Oh, but not those guys.
Yeah, not those guys.
Yeah, it's a 5/5 flyer.
It's a dragon. It's board wipes.
It's good. It's amazing.
Yeah. Not good in your
always
aggro
pack it.
decks though, because it's just like
Always pack it. It's just like it kills them. You don't like that in aggro decks?
I don't.
You don't like when you attack for 5 in the air in aggro decks?
I'm gonna be honest with you, that just sucks. Actually, I think the real aggro decks in this format probably not playing 6-drops. Actually,
I don't know. I never saw one.
we'll see. That.
4 red, 5/5 flyer. Whenever it dies, deal 5 damage to each creature. Has same text,
Yep,
except
just
for
took
it
off
hits
the without flying.
hits the flyers still. Yeah, good card.
Yeah.
I think 5/5 flying for 6 is still good today.
Yeah, it is. It really is. Yeah,
We still like those, and the death trigger matters actually because we may either kill it ourselves or they may kill it, and we get to restart. So we want this to be not in an aggro deck, like you said. Yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
but we can play it in an aggro deck anyways because it's just that good.
We can. All right, Shimatsu, the Blood Club, 3 and a red for a 0/0 legendary creature, Demon Spirit. As it comes into play, sacrifice any number of permanents. It gets +1/+1. It gets a +1/+1 counter for each.
That's terrible.
Yeah, it's costing so much.
I mean, but like the idea is reasonable behind it to make a huge dude that sacks all your Shiak.
You just put all your eggs in one basket and say, and you do it only because you know your opponent can't answer it, and now you've got this big creature that's gonna win.
You do this when your opponent's empty-handed, and then you just jam all of your lands and some of your non-lands into it, and that's pretty cool.
Yep.
It's just too specific is when it's good.
Yeah.
And now it is very similar. I bet 2 red for a 2/2. Whenever there's a battlefield, sacrifice any number of permanents. It gets a +1 counter for each permanent sacrifice this way with trample. This card is much better. First off, it's a 2/2 instead of a 0/0. That's pretty big. We have a sacrifice theme in this format.
Yeah.
That's pretty big. Trample. That's really big.
Yes.
So we can put all our eggs in one basket and be certain that they can't just top deck a chump blocker until they find a removal or have some chump blockers in play.
They gotta
until
answer
find
it
removal.
now.
They have to deal with it right the heck now. Yeah, this card's really good.
Yep. I love it.
I expect to
I
play
wanted to
this
keep
in
the
every
basket.
sacrifice deck.
I want to keep the egg basket.
I
just want to make it a little scarier.
I expect to play this in every sacrifice deck, in many aggro decks as well.
Think about this. In aggro and sacrifice decks, when you don't want to go off with sacrificing, you can sacrifice 2.
That's what I was about to say.
And that's
With
okay.
Shimatsu, that's a 4-mana 4/4. You sacrifice some lands, you're fine.
I'm playing aggro. I've got a shitty 1/1 that no longer works, and an extra land I don't need anymore. Sacrifice those 2. Boom.
I expect this card to be really good, like Pac-Man Pick Winnable.
Yeah, I don't think you ever play this in any of the non-sacrifice or aggro red decks, but those are the best decks in red, it looks like.
Yeah.
Well, there's some pretty good splice stuff, but
you won't play it in that, I don't think. Maybe.
I don't think so. Shinin of Furious Fire, 2 and a red, 2/1 haste. Creature Spirit. Channeled red, discard target creature gains haste.
This is the stuff that made us like Channel. This kind of effect is cool.
Yeah.
It's just nice. I don't know.
It's just nice that you can do these sorts of things.
It's fine. This card's not great, but it's fine.
Yeah.
Instead, now it is the same thing, except for a few small changes. It is now 1 and a red for a 2/1 haste. Channel, red, discard. All of your creatures gain haste. Yeah, I like this card. I like a 2/1 haste for 2 a lot.
Yeah.
I think you're not channeling this almost ever, but whenever it does win the game, you'll do it.
Yeah, it's
You'll be
late
like,
game.
dude, I
draw
got a big
this,
creature.
Have big creature. Shimatsu. I'm at 5 mana.
Look at this
Shimatsu
combo,
on this.
baby. Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
that's where you're going to want to do it.
Yeah,
Allows
yeah,
your-
yeah.
allows your top
You'll
end
usually
to
just
do
play
it.
this on 2 and smack them.
Oh, for sure.
be
But
like,
if you
"Hey,
draw
baby."
it, or if you draw it later than 2 and you're curving out instead, and there's reasons
Yeah,
why.
there's
I do
room
believe
roll.
that channel will come into play, but it won't be like you won't save it to do that.
No.
You will play your 2/1 haste.
Yep.
Alright.
Good card for the
card.
aggro deck. It's good filler is what we call this.
Yeah, good filler. Shinka Gatekeepers, 2 and a red for a 3/2 creature ogre warrior. Let me just tell you, it's a drawback. Whenever it's dealt damage, it deals that much damage to you.
This card's terrible.
Bad. So bad.
3 mana 3/2 with a drawback.
Unplayable.
We hate 3 mana 3/2 vanillas.
Yeah. We
think those suck.
We don't play those.
And that's got a drawback.
All right, let's go.
Now we have a 1 and a red for a 4/4. Whenever it is dealt damage, discard a card or sacrifice a permanent. So it is a drawback, but sometimes we can use that drawback to our advantage. So
but it's a big drawback when you're playing it on 2.
Yeah. But discarding a card right away is you can do that for a moment, and then in the late game, once you've done all the stuff with your hand, like I'll start
sacking permanents.
Yeah,
exactly.
Fine. Yeah, it's a good card. This is a really good card for the aggro deck.
We got it.
Eventually, you don't want it to be in combat anymore, and so you just stop putting it in combat.
Or you sack it.
Yeah, you got so many things to do with this card. This is great. This card's really strong.
Yeah. Think about it this way also. If it gets in combat, right, and say they block it with a 2/2.
Yeah.
And you no longer want to be sacking shit. Sack it, okay? Yeah, you lost your dude to a 2/2.
Yeah.
But you did a trade and now it's off the battlefield, so you still got that trade because it's after the damage is dealt.
I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah.
That whenever it's dealt damage, you can sacrifice it as like I'm done with this. I'm just screw this card.
Yep.
That's fine. Yeah, that's cool.
Next, sideswipe 1 in red. You may change any targets for target arcane spell.
Cool.
Instant.
Don't care. Bad card.
What are you doing here?
Now it is 1 in a red. You may change any target to target instant or sorcery spell. This card's probably hard to play. Obviously, you're just going to change the target of your opponent's removal to one of their guys, and that'll be a 2-for-1. Because you'll kill their creature and counter their spell is the idea.
Yep.
So it's really good when it works. So I expect that this could be playable at 2 mana, especially.
Here's the only place I think you're actually picking this and putting it in your main deck, and that will be the splice deck because you can splice onto this, and it's 2 mana, so instant speed. Just leave up all your mana, and they play their removal spell.
They expect you to have counter spells. They're like gonna play the creatures first, I think.
Yeah, fair enough. I don't think it's great. I'm just saying that's the deck that you might.
I think this is more of a sideboard card.
Yeah.
Whenever your opponent has a lot of removal, this will be a really good card.
Yep, sounds good. Skyfire Kirin, 2 red for a 3/3 legendary creature, Kirin Spirit. Whenever you play a spirit or arcane spell, you may gain control of target creature with that spell's converted mana cost until end of turn.
These are just too specific. Kirin's all are.
Not giving haste, not untapping. What are you doing?
Oh, I didn't even notice that part. This is dumb.
Messy.
Now it is 2 red for a 3/3 flying. Whenever you cast a spirit spell, untap target creature with that spell's converted mana cost and gain control of it until end of turn. It gains haste until end of turn. So, yeah, sure.
Still very specific, but
at least it does the thing it's supposed to do.
You know,
yeah, I think it's 4 mana 3/3 flying. Again, is just as we've said every time is something you might play.
Yep. I think these cards you're thinking about, like you sometimes just want this spirit that is a 4 mana flying 3/3, and if you're looking at your deck and you're like, I got a lot of different mana costs. Sometimes maybe I'll just go that this could work. You know?
Yeah.
Not crazy, but this is one of the ones where it's like,
I think this one's better than some of the others. Most of the others, actually.
Here's why I think that it's on par, and that's because this one needs both sides to be the same. And so the mill one doesn't do that. The green, the red, or no, sorry, the green, the blue,
because the white one does.
The one kind of
the black
does.
one does too.
The black one and the black one and the white one are different because they hit, it's broader.
Mass, yeah. Whereas this only hits one thing.
But yeah, no, this one and the white one actually have similar thinking because they got to be in play. Anyway, yeah, I get the idea. So Kens and Bruisers, 4 and a red for a 3/3 creature, ogre warrior, mountain walk. Bad. Why? Woo-ah-ha. Ooh boy, I don't know what to tell you. Landwalk isn't good. It's annoying and not good, and only sometimes just good randomly. One thing I want to say is I like the style for this art, but that club, the perspective is nonsense. It's not. That's not.
Oh, that's impossible.
That's not how perspective works. But sometimes I wonder if it's done like that on purpose, because a lot of the spirits look like that, where their perspective is nonsense, and it's like, yeah, it's a spirit. So I wonder if they're just kind of like going for this weird artsy feel, because the art's still good. So
that's so crazy that perspective is nonsense.
Yeah, it's not like they're not talented artists. It's just like, okay,
weird.
Oops, not even oops. Just like
what? Yeah, just like what?
What?
2 and a red for a 4/1. Sorry. Honor. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield, you control target creature can't block this turn. I saw that coming a mile away, and yeah, I like that card.
Yeah, but Mountain Walk says things can't block, so
things can't block.
Things can't block.
This card seems very strong to me. 4 power, it means it's bad at attacking, but if your opponent can't block, it's not so bad at attacking all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And our aggro honor deck is the only deck I'll play it, but like, man, it'll be good in that deck.
Yep, exactly. All right, so Kenzen Renegade, it's 2 and a red for a 3/3 Bushido 1 Ogre Samurai Mercenary. Beginning of your upkeep, if a player has more cards in hand than any other player, or the player with the most cards gains control of this. This is nonsense.
So you want to have a lot of cards.
Uh-huh.
Well,
but you had to
old.
cast this.
That's old news, dude.
So you already... anyway. It's just bad.
2 in a red now for a 4/4 honor. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, it gets +1/+1 until turn. And it cannot attack unless you have 1 or fewer cards in hand. I don't like this card very much. I think it's pretty weak. But, you know, sometimes you'll play it if you know you're going to get that low. Hyper aggro decks, lots of, like, 1 and 2 drops, maybe. Maybe you can play this card.
I think the rate's really good, so...
Rate's not bad, yeah. 4/4 with an honor 1. It's fine.
Yeah.
I just think it's going to be too tough. It's a good blocker, so maybe it goes into a deck where you're playing the block with it instead.
Yeah, exactly.
It seems fine. I like that.
Sounds good. So Kenzen Spellblade, 4 and a red for a 2/3 creature, ogre, samurai, shaman. Wow, there's so many creature types. Bushido 1. Okay.
He's a samurai and a shaman. You see the sword and
You're
the
right.
spell?
I'm sorry.
You see he's got both?
God, he's got both in his hands. 1 in red. He gets +X/+0 until a turn where X number of cards in your hand. Spell, and then the Bushido's the blade. Gotcha.
Now you get it. Now he gets it.
Now I got it.
He's okay now. Bad card.
Bad card.
Just bad
Mana
rate is the
investment.
main problem.
It's a bad rate. The mana investment. What do you do? Stop it. I don't even care anymore.
It is now a 3 in a red for a 2/3 with a lot of text that says honor whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control. So Ken's Spellblade gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Also, whenever it attacks, if you have 1 or fewer cards in hand, you may exile target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard with mana value X or less, where X is Spellblade Sokensen power. I said Spellblade Sokensen.
That's okay.
All right. If you do, copy it and cast it without paying its mana cost. All right. So we're going to exile a card that's 2 or less unless we've honored or pumped it some other way, and then cast it. I think this card's also bad. Yeah. I think this card's also bad. It's interesting with a pump spell, you know. I like pump spelling this, attacking, pump spelling it with the comeback. There's been cards in the past that do that effect, and it's fun. But usually 4 mana, 3 or 2/3 with a way to get bigger is not good enough.
Sure, that's fair enough.
Way to get 1 bigger, you know.
I like it a lot because like you discard your cards, but now you're getting them back.
Yeah, I'm sure there's gonna be a deck where this is good, but it's just gotta be a deck where this is good, you know.
I get that. Yeah, I like him a lot. I think it's a really fun card.
Sure.
All right, Soul Blast, 3 red, 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 instant. This is actually, is this a reprint? I think this is a reprint.
Nope.
No, this is originally from this set.
Yeah, I got reprinted.
Oh, it was reprinted in a core set afterward. Yeah, that core set had a lot of cards from this block in it. Actually.
Yeah.
Soul Blast, 3 red, 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 instant. As an additional cost to cast it, sacrifice all creatures you control. Deals damage to any target equal to the power of combined of all those creatures.
Yeah, you're supposed to kill people with this. It sucks.
Just ends the game.
It only works if it works. It is now 2 red, red, red. As an ability.
Nice.
Nice to you, Johnny.
Has an additional cost to cast Devouring Rage. What's wrong?
You said Devouring Rage, right?
Yeah. Ha!
Okay, as an additional cost to cast Soul Blast,
Damn
sacrifice any number of permanents.
How did I miss it?
Soul Blast deals X damage to up to X targets, where X is the number of permanents sacrificed. Okay, so this is really good, I think. So it also just wins the game most of the time. You could also just sacrifice 2 or 3 things and, like, board wipe people. I think this card is maybe too good, but I'm not sure. I like it a lot. It's kind of weird because it does the same kind of thing as that, but being able to sacrifice... Its name is not Devouring Rage, but you can sacrifice lands to this.
What was the other card that I needed to fix?
I think this card's probably...
Initiative Blood.
Probably... I don't know where to put this.
Initiate of Blood. We're just changing these freaking typos. And then Soul Blast.
Yeah, this card's just good. I'm gonna go with good.
Cool.
You pick it early maybe, but probably not.
Probably not.
It's just good.
Yeah. Soul of Magma, 3 red, red for a 2. I'll never get over this. Creature Spirit, whenever you play a Spirit or Arcane spell, deal 1 damage to target creature.
Yeah, it's bad.
Wow, the rate, even for the time, this is nonsense.
Yeah.
What? 5 mana? 5 whole mana on your 5th turn, and then you're
Okay. It is now 3 red, red for a 3/3 with Fire Breathing that says whenever you cast a spirit spell or reveal a spirit card, it deals 3 damage to each player. So this is trying to end the goddamn game.
Yeah, do be.
Every time you do it, you're like, oh, kick them both.
Let's go, let's
Kick them
go,
both in the ass.
let's go.
Kick them both in the dick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think this card's any good. It goes so hard.
But it goes so hard, dude.
It's so scary.
This card goes hard, dude.
It's 5 mana, and it doesn't go hard until you cast more spells.
I'm just letting you know it goes hard.
Yeah. Yeah, and it fire breathes too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this card's probably not good enough.
Yeah, we're gonna play
I'm ready to die.
I can't wait to play this card against you. Alright, Sowing Salt. 2 red. Exile target non-basic land, search its controller's graveyard, hand, and library for all copies, and exile those 2.
Yeah, who cares?
Yeah, who cares?
Now it's 1 red, exile target land or artifact, then exile all cards from its controller's graveyard. So we're doing that thing with most of these extraction effects. We're just exiling people's graveyards, which is pretty cool. Mm-hmm. This hits a land or an artifact. Hitting a land is kind of weird. Artifacts are also not that good. I think this card's probably really bad.
Yep, definitely.
Yep, there you go. It's bad.
Just a sideboard card that you sometimes play.
Oh yeah, if your opponent has some crazy artifact, sure.
Yeah, it's graveyard hate too, so
yeah,
a little bit of that. I told you earlier, I'll let you know. Red has a very minor theme with destroying lands that you can get a deck that's like that. It's very hateful and rude, but there was enough of them, much like the rituals, that I thought allowing it to be a thing you build could be interesting.
Yeah. Okay.
Spiraling Embers, 3 and a red, Sorcery Arcane, deals damage to target creature or player equal number of cards in your hand.
The red decks didn't do this.
It's never an amount. This is never an amount.
You could play
it's
this.
like 2.
You could play this.
Whatever.
It's bad. You could play this and it's bad.
Don't think about it, it's bad.
Now it's 1 and a red, deal 3 damage to target creature. If you have 1 or fewer cards in hand, it deals 2 damage to that creature's controller. This is exactly the kind of card we were talking about before. Mm-hmm. If you cast this later, it deals more to the face, so we can actually get through. It feels a lot like Searing Blaze. You know, it's a Searing Blaze.
Searing Blaze.
It kills creature and deals some damage to face sometimes.
We love it.
Yeah, we like it.
Stone Rain, 2 and a red. Oh, here's the one of 3. So remember, here's the problem. I had Stone Rain, and I had Desperate Ritual. And I was like, shit.
Well, you're definitely not allowed to change Stone Rain.
I'm not.
It says Stone Rain. Everyone knows what Stone Rain is.
I'm literally not allowed to change this card, and I don't feel like I'm allowed to change Desperate Ritual. So instead of having these 2 cards that you're literally never picking ever in your entire life, why don't I make a niche thing happen?
All right, I'm never picking Stone Rain.
No, you're not. And it didn't change, of course.
Of course not. Yeah.
If
you had the text Stone Rain and anything else on the bottom and the top right,
anger,
I'd be pissed.
I'd be like, I'm so mad I did this. So anyway, Strange Inversion, 2 and a red, instant, arcane, switch target creature's power and toughness into a turn, spice into arcane, 1 and a red.
It's funny, just like the last time.
It's so
these effects have use, by the way. They are a combat trick. They really are. They're real bad though.
Why are we paying 3 mana for this combat trick? Like
this really weak combat trick that only works in very specific scenarios.
I hate this so much. It's such a funny joke.
So now instead we have 1 and a red, Tribal Instant Spirit, discard up to 3 cards, then draw that many cards. Splice on instant or sorcery, 1 and a red. So this is great for the discard deck and only that.
Yep.
And yeah, that's cool. We can maybe there's another place for it that uses the graveyard.
Sometimes you can maybe do the splice deck if you're trying to get through your bad cards.
But this is good in the discard deck sometimes. Yeah. I think it's bad, like low tier in that deck. Mm-hmm. But like when you have it and you play it, you'll feel like it's amazing.
Yeah, it's an instant too. So if you've got enough triggers, it could be like a combat trick or not even combat trick, just an instant speed trigger your discard triggers.
Yeah. I like being able to have this card in the set.
Yep. Sunder from Within, 2 red, sorcery, arcane, destroy target artifact or land.
We tried to destroy an artifact or land a second ago, and I told you I wouldn't play it. Instead, it is 1 red, Tribal Sorcery Spirit, target player sacrifices an artifact or land. What? Johnny? Johnny, that was an accident, right?
Nope. It's just worse.
Johnny, that was an accident.
It's worse. You're literally...
Do something different.
Okay, I'll think about it.
Yeah, that's so bad. There's no world where you play that card.
Maybe I'll make it red, and then you really hate it.
What? This card doesn't do anything.
They sack a land.
This card doesn't do anything.
They sack a land. It's just a Stone Rain, but a worse one.
Okay. But way worse.
Yeah, exactly.
Why do we want that?
Because we're playing the Stone Rain deck.
No, we're not.
But when we are.
But we're not, Johnny. That's the thing.
Thoughts of Ruin is 2 red, sorcery. Each player sacrifices a land for each card in your hand.
We have to sacrifice the lands too, huh?
Mm-hmm.
So why did we do that? So the idea is We're Armageddon.
It's Armageddon.
It's supposed to be Armageddon, but our hand has to be big for it to be Armageddon. So if we have a lot of cards in our hand and we're sacrificing all these lands, we can't cast these cards that are in our hand.
Nonsense.
Nonsense. So instead, it's 2 red, sweep, destroy target land. So we're trying to copy it to destroy 2 lands. This
So we
card is
destroy
more
2 of
playable than the
theirs,
others.
and we put 2 of ours back in our hand.
This card's more playable than the others, but
Yeah.
I still don't want to play it.
All right. Well, I'll change this one.
Yeah, I can't believe you put this one in the text file.
You want to know what I'm changing it to?
What?
Red.
I don't care. No one's gonna play that deck, Johnny.
You watch.
I'll watch you redesign all of these cards, yeah.
But that's Stone Rain, Nate! And there's so
Just
many of
remove
these
Stone Rain
Look
from
at
the
what
set.
they were before.
Just
They're
remove
all...
it from the set.
Look, they're...
I'm not kidding.
Okay, only if this is nonsense. Which
Which it
kinda
is.
But... Destroy their lands, buddy. Then you go beat them that way.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Through the Breach is the same. By the way.
Oh yeah, I kept it exactly the same. Except for its
this
tribal
card's really
instant spirit,
sweet.
of course.
So it's an instant speed, put a card... Okay, let's just read the text.
Yes.
It's the new
Through
version.
the Breach, I'll just read Through the Breach, because they're both the same. Mostly. Tribal Instant Spirit, of course. 4 and a red, Tribal Instant Spirit. Put a creature card from your hand on the battlefield. It gains haste. Sacrifice at the beginning of its end step. It has Splice and instant or sorcery for 2 red.
We're planning on cheating cards into play for a moment with this, and those creatures have to be really good. We have... Now the Myojin are able to be cheated.
Yeah, to change the Myojin, and
the
it was
main plan
because
of
of
this.
cards like this, because I wanted you to want to pick them. Otherwise, you're never casting Myojin.
There's other things you can do with Through the Breach, especially because it has Splice. You can Splice on and get a cool ETB to go with that thing, and then go again and Through the Breach them and jam.
multiple Through the Breaches
You can
for
figure it
cool
out.
stuff.
You can figure it out, but I think this will be the worst of our cheating cards probably.
Yeah.
Just because it's so much mana for a card we have to pull out of our hand to throw
You
in
gotta
the graveyard.
have either...
Has to be a Myojin or
Has to
something amazing.
Myojin or Unspeakable with targets, or Pit Lord.
Yeah. So something amazing has to happen with Through the Breach, whereas the other ones you can maybe get some value out of before something amazing happens.
Yep. Tide of War, 4 red for an enchantment. Whenever one or more creatures blocks... I hate this text. Flip a coin. If you win the flip, defending player sacrifices all blocking creatures. Otherwise, the attacking player sacrifices the blocked creatures.
So it's just all random, and whoever randomly wins the flip gets to keep all their creatures, but the opposing side loses everything they put into combat.
This is nonsense. Nothing is happening here, but there's a lot of text.
Yeah, like...
We're just not blocking. No one's blocking.
No, they are if they have
Creatures
to.
can't block.
If they have to, they will. And then something funny happens when we flip a coin.
Sometimes we lose our creatures.
Yeah, I hate it.
This card sucks.
Okay, now it's 4 red for an enchantment that says Honor. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, each player sacrifices a permanent. And whenever you discard a card or sacrifice a permanent, draw a card. This card is awesome. Because the Honor that sacks a permanent on both sides, including ours, we're drawing a card back. This card is 6 mana, though. I do not think this is worth playing very often, if ever. The
Land Destruction deck.
The Land Destruction deck would probably like this. But also... Okay. But also a slow sacrifice deck, if you can find that.
This is a very grindy card compared to what you do.
Seems hard to play, but in really weird grindy decks, it can be
really
good.
It's not for the honor decks.
No.
It just has that text. It's for a very grindy.
Yeah, I
sort of
doubt
red
this
deck.
card gets played.
Yeah, but it's cool.
But it is cool. I like it.
Torrent of Stone, 3 and a red, instant, arcane, deal 4 damage to target creature, splice an arcane, sacrifice 2 mountains. This card was great.
Sick card, amazing card. It's
pick.
just slightly worse version. Well, no, it's not slightly worse. It's just a worse Hirobi's Whisper that can hit black creatures.
Yep. So you play it.
Oh,
Super good. Love this
good card. Because you have to sack mountains for the splice. Rough. But this is 2 and a red now. If you control a mountain, Torrent of Stone deals 4 damage to target creature. Splice, sacrifice 2 permanents. So you can sacrifice anything. Still sick. Goes down to 3 mana to be more reasonable to just cast it. But yeah, great card.
Yep.
Great card.
Love this card. High pick. Love this card.
High pick.
Non-mana cost splice is also just... Mwah. Twist Allegiance, 6 and a red. We swap creatures.
You and target opponent each gain control of all creatures the other person controls. On top of those creatures, they gain haste until end of turn. They get to untap them too?
Yep, they get
so
to
they get to
block.
block?
Yep.
This sucks.
7 mana.
For 7 mana.
This sucks. All right, get ready to read 3 times. You're going to read this card 3 times, Nate. Trust me.
5 and a red, sorcery. Look at target opponent's hand and choose a creature card from it, or a creature they control. Then, choose a creature card from my hand. Put the cards chosen from hands onto the battlefield. Then, you gain control of the chosen creatures. They gain haste. That opponent gains control of them at the beginning of next end step. Wait, why? They get it forever? I don't think this card's any good. Okay, so what's happening here is we're taking a card out of our hand, out of their hand, and the one they have in play.
Or we don't get 3 creatures.
Oh, okay.
We can. So yeah, you can look at their hand.
Okay. So you get one from their hand or from play, and one from our hand into play, gaining haste right now. Let's go, jam. At the end of turn, they get my guy and their guy forever.
Yes.
It's for 6 mana. This card's unplayable.
So we're not letting them get their guy.
Oh, I'm aware. This is an act of treason plus a cheat for 6 mana.
Well, it's not just an act of treason. You can get their hand too.
For 6 mana. If this does a Myojin effect...
Are you literally going to make this cost less mana? No, you are not. This is just saying... Oh, go ahead.
If this gets a Myojin, it's good. It's not even broke. Like, it's not even doing the cheats broken oh my gosh thing. Like, it wins the game, but it's 6 mana. Like, I don't know. I don't like this card at all at 6 mana. I think I would want this to be cheaper and worse somehow.
I love this card. It's just only good whenever you can do it. You can sack the creatures.
Yeah. At 6 mana. Like, I don't know how else to say it. Like, that's really,
At 6
really
mana.
big.
He keeps saying it's 6 mana.
It's really big.
Probably wins the game a lot of the time too, though.
Maybe.
Seems... I don't know. I like this card. I think it's cool.
Okay.
Uncontrollable Anger. 2 red. Enchant creature. You may play it as an instant. And enchant creature gets +2/+2 and attacks each turn available.
Super sweet if it didn't cost 4 mana. I really like this effect. But yeah, 4 mana is just way too much.
Nonsense.
Because we can put it on opponents' things is why I like it so much. So 1 red for an enchant creature aura. When enchanted creature gets +2/+2 and attacks each combat available, whenever it dies, you draw a card. Yeah, this card's really good. I don't really mean really good. I mean, it's playable good. Unlike the other one.
Of note, just like the other one, you can put on your opponent's creatures to make them attack.
Yep.
They do get the +2/+2 still, but on this one, if
You're
it dies...
planning on killing them if you're giving it to their guy, because they're like, oh, that's a bad attack for you. Haha, now I'll block and kill your guy, and I draw a card.
Yep, exactly.
So yeah, it's pretty cool. I like this card.
Yep. Is it... I mean, what do you do with it?
I think it's very low playable, but like, you play in aggro decks that want to play it on your own guys mostly.
Yeah.
And then you can put it on their guys to make sure they attack you so they don't have a blocker available and then hit them.
Yeah. Undying Flames is 4 red for a sorcery that has Epic, which means when you cast it, you can't cast spells for the rest of the game.
Wait, is it still Flash?
No.
Oh, okay, cool.
That took away Flash. Whenever you cast it, you can't cast other spells for the rest of the game, but at the beginning of your upkeep, you get a copy of it. This one is remove cards from the top of your library until you remove a non-land card. It deals damage to target creature or player equal to the card's converted mana cost.
Yep. It's one of the stronger epics just because it's so cheap.
And it just kills.
But obviously sometimes it doesn't.
And you're doing nothing else for the rest of the game.
Yeah,
so
yeah. It's one of the stronger ones only because it's cheap and it can kill people.
Yep. Problem is if you're behind, you're going to be using it as removal, and then your opponent's just playing new stuff every turn.
And you're not playing anything.
And you're not playing anything, so bleh.
Now it is 5 and 2 red for an epic, which is now, for the rest of the game, you copy this in your upkeep every time, but you can still cast spells for the rest of the game. Exile top card of your library, you may play that card until end of turn instead. At the beginning of the next end step, if you don't play it, so it's still exiled, put it in the graveyard and deal damage equal to its target to any equal to its mana to any target. Mana value to any target. So yeah, it's doing the same thing as Undying Flames, but you have the option to just play the card instead. So especially if it's like a land or something, you'll be like, all right, I just played it. It would deal 0 anyways. Who cares? Yeah, this card seems really good. At 7 mana, I think it's playable. It's exactly the top end of where bombs go. So this card would be very slow, though, is the problem. It doesn't immediately do anything.
Well, it can kill something.
Yeah, it can kill one thing. It is a removal spell sometimes, or exiling something to be able to play it if you have enough mana or enough available, like land plays or whatever. This card seems playable in a very slow deck. That's it. It seems that's it.
Unearthly Blizzard, 2 and a red, Sorcery, Arcane, up to 3 target creatures can't block this turn.
Yeah, I don't like talking about the old ones anymore, actually. Like, it just didn't do anything. So many of these cards just didn't do anything.
So, a card like this is okay, actually, sometimes. But nowadays, they don't cost them like this and have this the way the effect works. It's just higher mana cost than normal and says only up to 3 can't block.
Yeah.
Normally these days it's like 1 in a red, creatures can't block, or a certain subset of creatures, like creatures without flying can't block.
Usually,
And then 2 in a red, just all creatures can't block. That's just how it works these days, because you still have to have a board that'll kill them for it to be worth it.
Yeah. This card was like Panic or something like that. Something I don't remember, like the original non-arcane version. Now it is same thing as he just said. 2 in a red, travel sorcery spirit. All creatures cannot block this turn.
Yep.
Yeah. It'll be fine at best in the aggro decks. You may play it.
You
Falter
may.
gets played sometimes in aggro decks and other limited.
It's just fine. It's not amazing.
Fine, yeah.
You know, just...
It wins the game when it wins the game. It's really cool when it does that.
Nowadays, they usually make these 4 mana, but with bonus effects, because
destroy a land sometimes.
the effect is so powerful, but it's not actually worth a bunch of mana. So what they do now instead is give you extra effects, but make you play it later in the game when you would want to play it anyway.
Yeah.
Next card is Unnatural Speed. For red, instant arcane, target creature gains haste until end of turn.
Bad.
Horrible.
Taste.
Not a good card.
It's arcane.
It's just not doing anything.
Now it is red, travel instant spirit, target creature gains haste until end of turn, draw a card. This card seems like it'd be useful for the spells deck, which you have to have a creature to do it with. The haste portion actually doesn't seem great.
No.
We just like drawing a card.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it is. You're thinking about, like, what is it? Reach Through Mists or whatever?
Yeah.
You know, it's like that card is better than this because you don't have to target anything.
Yeah, it's
And
funny.
you're
This card
usually
has more
not-
text. And...
Yeah, you're usually not going to want that haste.
Yeah.
Yamabushi's Flame, 2 in a red, instant, deal 3 damage to target creature or player, and it exiles anything that
takes
would
this
die.
damage. Yeah, you play this card. It's 3 mana, deal 3 damage. We like that stuff.
Yep, we played it.
Now it is instead 1 in a red, deals 3 damage to any target. If the creature dealt damage this way, we die this turn, exile instead. So it's the same thing, but 2 mana and a sorcery instead of an instant.
Yep.
Yeah, this card's good. We'll play this a lot. You play it, pick it relatively
Removal.
early.
A good rate for removal, too.
Yeah.
Exiling could matter if it's a Soul Shift as well.
Yep.
Yamabushi's Storm is 1 in a red, sorcery, deal 1 damage to each creature, exiles anything that dies.
Terrible.
Terrible. Way too low of damage ratio. Even back then, they had Pyroclasm. Like, this is bad.
Now it is Pyroclasm. 1 in a red, sorcery, deal 2 damage to each creature. If creature dealt damage this way, it would die, exile instead. I don't think the exile text is very relevant on this card, but it's the Yamabushi card. We'll go ahead and keep it.
Yep.
And it's doing the same thing that the Hideous Laughter is. We're trying to be against the aggro deck. This will go only in the Instants and Sorceries deck. You won't put this in any of your other red decks.
No, you don't want to kill your own stuff. Yukiona is 3 in a red for a 3/1 creature spirit. When it enters the battlefield, destroy target artifact, and has the text that whenever you cast a spirit or arcane spell, you may return it to your hand.
Is this the worst of them so far?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a 4 mana 3/1 though, which is better stats than some of the other ones, but still not good. Still not good.
It's a bad card.
This is a bad card.
Yep.
Turned it into 2 in a red for a 3/1 that destroys target artifacts whenever you enter the battlefield, and whenever you cast a spirit spell or reveal a spirit card, you may return it to your hand. So it's slightly better. It's I think you want this in aggro deck sideboards more than anything. I'm not sure this actually works with the spirit decks very much.
I think that it really depends on how much mana you have available to repeat things with in your spirit decks, because this could just be good enough because you can return it and recast it to get a million spirit triggers, but it's very mana intensive to do that.
Yeah. Seems tough.
Next. Zozu the Punisher is 1 red for a 2/2 legendary creature goblin warrior that whenever a land comes into play, this deals 2 damage to land's controllers.
What? I forgot about this card. This card's a really big commander card.
Yeah. It's just very punishing.
So funny. This card was probably like not total shit and limited. Not good. Not good.
Very,
not total shit.
Because a lot of, you were playing lands and getting big mana and big hands, and so if you just play this on 3, hurts your opponent way more than it hurts you.
Yeah.
Yep. It's probably okay, actually. So, we didn't change it.
Okay. Sure. I don't know if it'll be... I think it won't be playable.
You don't think so?
Yeah, I'm not certain, but I don't think it'll be playable.
Fair enough. Alright, that's the last one.
Oh, yeah, that's a Z. Zozu.
Yeah, Zozu. Alright, we've made it almost exactly 3 hours.
That's how we should do it every time, you know?
Yeah.
3 hours, baby.
3 hours, baby. That was good. Alright.
We'll see you